America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in D.C.
I'm Dr. Cecilia Burrington. If you're among the 40% of Americans 50 and older not getting tested for colorectal cancer, you're out of excuses. The government will now require insurance companies to cover virtual colonoscopies and other less invasive tests. Talk to your doctor to see which of these tests is right for you. Don't be one of the 50,000 Americans to die from a largely preventable disease. For more information on virtual colonoscopy, visit radiologyinfo.org.
There's this new website called EnergyHog.org. Forget about it. It teaches kids how to get rid of us energy hogs. So you promise not to log on to EnergyHog.org, and I promise not to eat your radio.
This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, KTFM Floresville, your home for the Blitz with Jason and Joe on YouTube and always at sasportsstar.com. San Antonio's Sports Center.
The San Antonio Spurs have a brand new head coach. His name is Mitch Johnson. He was introduced this morning. Several players, including Wemby, were on hand, along with former players and Greg Popovich, who officially passed the torch to Johnson. Well, tonight, NBA playoffs, the Knicks take on the Celtics at 6 for Game 1, while the Nuggets, they're in OKC to face the Thunder. That will tip off at 8:30.
SportsCenter brought to you by Centergenics. Book your appointment at fixmylowteam.com.
Joe Reinagel.
That's the third time in 7 seasons the San Antonio Spurs are the NBA champions.
Jason Minix.
They go back to big day as Super Bowl champions. Dallas 52, Buffalo 17.
It's the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1, a San Antonio Sports Star. He is Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. That's true. Cinco de Mayo. Now, Fiesta just ended yesterday,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And you got Cinco de Mayo today, so yeah, we just keep the party going.
There's no reason to dry out.
No reason to quit.
No reason at all to do anything. And look, today, kind of like Friday, a very historic day in our city. I mean, Friday might have been maybe one of the biggest sports stories in the history of our city when it was announced that Greg Popovich would not be returning as head coach. While it was no surprise, it still hit you like a ton of bricks. And I don't know what's heavier than a ton of bricks, because we saw Greg Popovich today in a surprise, and it hits you. I mean, you know, first public comments he has made since the stroke, and I know other people have seen him here and there, but there's not been a lot of public sightings of Greg Popovich since November. And seeing him today, while completely unexpected, media was given no heads up. He wasn't scheduled to speak with the introductory press conference, but he was there, and he was classic Greg Popovich.
He was funny. He still got a sense of humor, that's for sure. But when I saw him today, I realized that this decision had been made a long time ago.
Yep.
This was not a decision that was made on Friday. It was not a decision that was made last week. I think this decision was made a long time ago. Greg Popovich, while he is recovering, and he said he's getting better every day, still you can see that he's just not obviously the same man as he was before the stroke. And just seeing him today, Jason, I don't think there's any question or in anybody's mind that the rigors of being an NBA head coach he couldn't do it. I mean, he struggled at times today, had to be helped up, had to help take his jacket off and these things. And it's sad to see, because Greg Popovich, such a strong, an alpha male, if you will. I mean, right? And that's kind of how you remember Greg Popovich. And so it was difficult to see him in that condition today.
Emotional. I mean, Greg Popovich has been a part of our lives in San Antonio for well over 30 years. Yes, he was head coach for 29. Whether you've had interactions with him personally or he's just always been the Spurs head coach, he's a part of your life.
Yep,
and a very much a part of the fabric of our San Antonio community. And it was emotional seeing them because personally for me, I flashed back to my dad because my dad went from the strong alpha male, as you just put it, to a frail old man.
Yeah.
And watching and seeing Greg Popovich today, and I wasn't expecting it, so it was like, man, there, wow. And Pop was there. Then it was, man, Pop is actually going to talk. And visually, we all saw Spurs family. They talk about it. It's a part of the mantra. It's more than just words on a page or words on a wall. To see Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili by his side, help him up, stand there while he was talking, and then walk off with him. It was just a visualization of everything that we hear about that Spurs culture.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It is a family. When they say they're family, they are definitely family. And you're going to hear Coach Pop's speech coming up here in just a little bit. And just some of the things that he said, especially about Manu and Timmy, just how they've been there for his entire rehab. And that tells you everything you need to know how they feel about him. And while Friday was weird and I wasn't here, but the two segments I was on with you, we had not only the retirement announcement of Greg Popovich, but then the announcement that Mitch Johnson was going to be the new head coach. And obviously there's some things to say on that. But I think today, even more than Friday, should more so be a tribute to Greg Popovich and what he did and how that franchise responded to him and has responded to him.
And I don't know how to handle these things, right? In a way, like what is the right way? What is the best way? So we get the announcement about Greg Popovich stepping down as head coach, staying on as team president, and then an hour later, it's announced that Mitch Johnson is the head coach, press conference on Monday. And so Friday's show was very much a balance of, man, I want to celebrate Pop today, but there was also a lot of disappointment that Mitch Johnson was going to be the head coach because they didn't do any kind of search. Although listening to the press conference today, it certainly makes a lot more sense. Whether you agree with the decision or not, it makes a lot more sense. Mitch Johnson won the press conference today, if you will. You know how we always judge dudes on how they do on their opening press conference? He was brilliant today, and you know what you're not going to hear a lot of today? Mitch Johnson, because Greg Popovich is the story today. It's weird that Friday should have been the Pop story, and it was about Mitch. Today should be about Mitch, yet it's going to be more about Greg Popovich and the obvious passing of the torch, which, again, being in the building and over there at the Rock was incredible. If you've seen the video, whether it's wherever it is, my social media, Ryan Eagle's social media, anybody else's social media, it is a powerful watch. But trust me, if you haven't seen it, it's very real and very raw, and the reaction is there. The idea, mild stroke, or how well he is doing. If everybody's going to have their own reactions. Didn't look like his left side, his left arm, left leg really work all that well. Speech was okay, but slower than what you expect. The wit, though, from Pop, certainly there.
Yeah, he hadn't lost his sense of humor, that's for sure. But you could tell it was an emotional day for Pop too. I mean, how could it not be when you've been the head coach of this franchise for as long as he has, and it was an emotional day for him. And you could see that, and there were times where he would stop, and I had to believe there was a lump in his throat, where it was just that emotional at times. And gosh, I mean, no one can blame him for that, for sure, because I mean, he's put a stamp on this franchise that will last a lifetime. And now it's up to guys like Mitch Johnson and who may ever come after Mitch Johnson to keep that alive.
I would say that today was very important for Greg Popovich, handing the torch, but also the thank yous to the fans, to the people that work in the office, basketball operations, but you could also tell a guy that has been through hell how much he appreciates the fact that he was able to stand up there today and everything that he has enjoyed in his life. And you could just, it was as genuine of Greg Popovich, maybe compared to his Hall of Fame speech. A lot of his interactions with the media are forced, and he doesn't really want to do it. He chose to do this today, and it was probably a goal for him to be able to get up there and do what he did today. And again, not lost on me, and it shouldn't be on you, that it was Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili flanking him while he was delivering that speech.
And that tells you all you need to know about the love that these players have for Greg Popovich. And there's a great story in The Athletic of a guy, to be honest with you, I never heard of. And I don't remember him. Played a year under Pop, and he talks about how he changed his life just from that. And so Pop always treated the players as family. And I don't care who you are. DeJounte Murray was at this press conference, for goodness sake. I mean, DeJounte Murray.
Although DeJounte's there a little bit for Pop, but more for Mitch. Mitch. He and Mitch have been close since their days in Seattle. And quite frankly, DeJounte might be the reason Mitch got a job here in 2016.
Could be.
Because of their relationship. And now Mitch Johnson is the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. I saw an interesting stat on ESPN. There have been exactly 300 coaching changes in the NBA from when Pop took over until now. That's incredible.
It really is incredible. I mean, you don't run a franchise that long in a fickle world in professional sports as we have. But look, nobody talks about it. I don't think it gets as much attention as it should. 20 years straight that this franchise was either winning championships or making deep playoff runs. This was a dynasty. From 1999 to 2014, this team was a dynasty. And I don't think this team gets enough credit or respect for that. Now, Greg Popovich has gotten all the love in the world from just about every media outlet I've seen across this country. But just that team alone and what they were able to accomplish, I just think goes a little under the radar a bit.
It's pretty incredible. Certainly an end of an era. You want to react? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. On Twitter, at Joe Reinagle 210. Tweet at me, at Jason Minix. The station, at SA Sports Star. Same on Instagram. We've got Joe and I on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Pictures and videos from today's press conference. If you miss Greg Popovich, generally we play sound bites. Today we're playing you the whole thing. You will hear Greg Popovich's entirety speaking today. It's about 6.5 minutes long. Coming up here, it is the Blitz 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have your phone first, before the cab pulls away.
Hey, thanks, man. No, wait, my phone, come back! It's my boarding pass, credit cards, phone numbers, my life, come back!
Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Injuries happen, and when they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocations, sprains, and strains. Conveniently located in the Quarry area with extended hours Monday through Saturday with on-site x-ray casting and bracing, Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. Learn more online at tsaog.com.
Your marriage is over. You know it, your friends know it. Take back control now with Barton & Associates, an aggressive, no-nonsense team of attorneys ready to fight for what you deserve. Contact us today at texasdivorce.com. That's texasdivorce.com.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-351-4596. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-351-4596. 800-351-4596. 800-351-4596.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results vary. Consult with your tax professional prior to enrollment.
Find mom's best gift at Target. Now through Mother's Day, get up to 40% off gifts for her. Discover trendy apparel and swimwear that'll elevate any wardrobe. Jewelry that'll make her smile shine brighter, and even chocolate that'll turn any moment into something sweeter. There are endless options to choose from to show her she's the best. Hurry! Save 20 to 40% on select apparel, jewelry, chocolates, and more this Mother's Day only at Target. Restrictions apply.
Calling all snack MVPs, it's time to huddle up with Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, the low-carb, high-protein snack with a flavor-packed crunch. From sea salt and cracked black pepper to hot honey, sweet barbecue, and more, these bold bites are ready to tackle your crunch time cravings. Find your flavor playbook at H-E-B and make every bite count, because when it's crunch time, there's only one snack you need on your team: Southern Recipe Small Batch.
Joel, I'm proud to introduce my latest in-summer relaxation relief-cation. I call it the Quarter Moon Grill and Go. It's a stainless steel propane gas grill with this, a full-size urinal. If you're gonna grill and you gotta go, it's the Grill and Go.
Folks, at Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat and AC, we fix plumbing and AC issues fast and at a fair price. 210-651-5899.
Grill and
Go away, Nigel. Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat and AC.
License number TACLA 141074E M16004.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 and San Antonio Sports Star. Q2 is kind of appropriate for a day like today, isn't it?
Not bad at all.
He is Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. Maybe you're watching on YouTube. You can always subscribe to the San Antonio Sports Star YouTube channel. I think one of the biggest surprises today was Greg Popovich. That's also an understatement.
Huge surprise.
You know, when you have events like this, you know, the Spurs PR, they say you're going to hear from Peter J. Holt, and you're going to hear from Brian Wright, obviously Mitch Johnson. I expected to see some players there. Wemby was there. Steph Castle was there. Probably even some legends, because that's the way the Spurs do things.
David was there.
RC, obviously. But 2-3 minutes before everything was underway, one of the Spurs PR guys, a guy named Chris Davis, said, so here's what's going to happen, guys, is everybody's going to be walking from this area out to the seating area before it goes, if you guys want to video that, and you're probably going to want to video that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And you would expect that, you know, from a TV world, it's called B-roll, and you figure, you know, whoever. I totally was shocked initially when holy crap, there's Greg Popovich.
Greg Popovich with Tim on one side and Manu on the other. And they walked out together. It was quite the sight, and it surprised everybody in the room, because obviously when we got the press release for the press conference, it said who was going to be in attendance, and there was no mention of Greg Popovich.
And no real surprise that there was no mention of Greg Popovich. You know, when we were walking in, I saw Tim, and oh, cool, Tim's here. See, Wemby, cool, Wemby's here. Was shocked. And all right, Greg Popovich is here. This is cool. And he was sitting right at the front. Peter J. Holt starts the festivities. And then the bigger shock, Greg Popovich was walking up to the podium. Did not expect to hear from Greg Popovich in its entirety. This was Greg Popovich from earlier today.
Thank you, Peter John. I guess you all know why you're here. Well, Mr. Harris never knows what he's doing, so everybody else knows what they're doing. But Don, he's lost all the time, so he doesn't know what he's doing. Thank you for being here. It's quite a day for many of us, but there's a lot of thank yous after 25 or 30 years. Mitch Johnson, hi. Manu, Timmy. I can never express the gratitude that I have for so many people caring about our organization and sending me thoughts, prayers, that sort of thing since I had this stroke. Things are getting better by the day, but it's not good enough for what we plan ahead. And so it's time to make this change. I want to thank all of you in here, former players, coaches, friends, people from the ticket office, or people who put on a show during timeouts. We all have a part in this. It's not just the players and the coaches. Everybody has been dedicated to do their part to make a successful, thriving organization. And that starts at the top with the Holt family. And we will continue to do our best to do this with class. It's one of the reasons why Mitch Johnson will be taking over, because we have total faith in him to continue what's been started a long time ago. I want to thank all my rehab people, some of whom are here. Javier, are you here? Where are you at? Oh, Javier, Courtney, Melissa, you're back there. There's also Jessica, Rolando, and Christian, who couldn't be here because they have a real job. And of course, Curtis and Nick, who are also here for my rock workouts. And Timmy and Manu, of course, who have been here for all of my workouts here at the Rock. They say it's because they love me and they want to be there in case I fall, they're going to catch me and that sort of thing. I call it payback. As they give the rehab people new ideas of things to do to me. So you're not fooling anybody, especially you, Timmy. I want to thank the fans for being right next to us with every win and every loss over these many years. We feel a close bond with you, and we know that we have a big responsibility to you here in San Antonio, and we will never forget that. But thank you for the years of your support, and we won't let you down. We won't win every game, but we'll try to, and we'll do it with class, whether it's a win or a loss. One of the reasons that I'm doing this now is that we have to have someone in charge who's fully capable of giving their very best, because that's what this group deserves and demands. And we have that man here in San Antonio. Mitch has been in the G League for a few years, behind the bench a few years, on the bench a few years, and he took over this year, did a fantastic job. With circumstances that were very difficult. And we saw him in action, and he was brilliant. The players respect him. He'll hold them accountable, and I couldn't be more thrilled for him and his family and friends. It's just a tribute to him that all the players who were in town were able to come, and especially a special guest, DeJounte Murray, who Mitch has known since he was 9 years old. Since DeJounte was 9 years old, he came all this way just to be here for this day. And Mitch and I both appreciate it very much. Obviously, people like David are part of the fabric of what's been established here from the moment he decided to stay in San Antonio. And under the leadership of R.C. Buford and a host of assistant GMs and coaches, former players, we've been fortunate enough to keep it going. And that's the goal, to make sure we keep it going. We've got scouts and people in the film room, people who empty baskets, clean windows, and we're grateful to all of them because everybody does a job. We've got some young players who are going to end up being really great players, some in Austin and many right here in San Antonio. And Mitch Johnson will be the guy that forges their futures. And I'll do everything I can to help him and help them. But I'll have a new job, and I want to make sure everybody understands what the new job is.
He's taking off his jacket to reveal a T-shirt.
I'm no longer a coach. I'm El Jefe.
I'm no longer coach. I'm El Jefe. Then Greg Popovich calls up Mitch Johnson. They hug.
Yep.
And powerful.
And Pop goes and sits down with Timmy and Manu, and then Mitch Johnson started his portion of the press conference. And but yeah, it was an emotional press conference. It was shocking to a little bit because we'd heard stories and heard people that had seen him, but until you actually see that yourself, you don't realize where exactly it was, and you understand why Greg Popovich is having to make this move. He's just not physically able to get it done. So he's going to stay around, though, president of basketball operations, which is a great thing, and I'm sure Mitch Johnson will lean on him quite a bit.
Well, and to have somebody in your corner that way, and you could tell, you guys listening to it, there were some times where, I don't know if he was struggling a little bit with the speech or if it was just emotional, but his wit is there. His mind is still very sharp. So that aspect of the job, he could still do. Seeing what we saw today, the idea of him getting on a plane 41 times next year during the regular season, it's just not realistic. And quite honestly, you go back to the stuff that we had heard around the All-Star break that he was trying to get to the point where he could come back and finish this season, and you realize those might have been goals, but that was never going to happen. No, never going to happen. Now, I've been told by, somebody that works with strokes that where his stroke was on the right side, which affects the left side, which you could see, is the area that has the highest success rate of recovery. So there are benchmarks then you could see, and then one day you might wake up and you're almost okay. But he's not there yet, and that part is sad. That part is sad that he's not going out under his own terms, but he's still going out with class, which is what Greg Popovich preaches.
Yeah, he does, and that's how it will continue to be run. I just find it. Just looking back and working with the Spurs and Greg Popovich for as long as we have, it's kind of a sad day. I mean, it really is, because it is the end of an era. Greg Popovich, no matter what you think of him personally, is going to go down as perhaps the greatest coach to ever coach in the NBA. And I know there are a lot of other great ones, but Greg Popovich has that aura and respect around him that it's just unmatchable. It certainly is that to me. And I just think that seeing him the way he was today and doing what he knows is necessary for the success of this franchise, and that's stepping aside. He was, I'm 90%, I would imagine, if not more, instrumental in Mitch Johnson being the head coach of this franchise moving forward. I just don't think there's any question about that. I think Pop had a huge hand in making this decision and who he wanted to replace him, and Mitch Johnson is that guy.
And I will say, I mean, Mitch Johnson played the hand that was dealt him, and he was not dealt an easy hand last year, and then you factor in a variety of injuries and other situations. One of the comments on our YouTube right now, can you break down when Mitch was brilliant as interim coach? He gets judged by Pop differently than he gets judged by you as a fan or me and Ryan Egel as talk show hosts and fans and whatnot. We saw him for 2.5 hours on a game night. They were watching him interact with every player, command practices, film study, build relationships. I think all of that factors in. As I said Friday, and I'll say it again today, with the veteran coaches that are available, and quite frankly, even ones that currently have jobs, maybe one that won a Game 7 last night down in Houston, I think when you look at this job, I can't think of anybody that wouldn't want this job when you have Wemby and a De'Aaron Fox and a Steph Castle in the foundation that is built. They could have had a pick of who they wanted to come in. And they chose Mitch Johnson for a reason. I don't understand it. You don't understand it, and I get that. They get it. But listening to Mitch Johnson today, it makes a lot more sense today on a personal level than probably it did on Friday or any of the other talk. Who would be the next head coach? Mitch's name was always on the list, but it was always pretty far down the list. But listening to him talk today, it makes more sense. I'm still not 100% lockstep with it, and I hope he proves me wrong. But at the same time, I get what the Spurs brass is thinking. It is the Spurs way.
Well, I don't know right decision or not. It's the decision that's been made, and I'm kind of in the same boat. And look, Mitch Johnson, listening to him today, it's going to be very difficult not to root for this guy.
True.
I mean, it's going to be very difficult not to. And I will root him on and cheer him on and hope he is as successful as all get out. But the fan in us are going to judge Mitch Johnson by wins and losses, period. And there's nothing wrong with that. Mitch Johnson's a nice guy. Greg Popovich, whatever you think of him, he's a hell of a coach. Coaches win and lose. That's how they're judged. It's not how they are when you see them in a restaurant. It's not how they are on a podium. It's wins and losses, and that's what we judge them on, and we'll continue to do that. And we will judge Mitch Johnson on wins and losses, period. Nobody is going to accept Mitch Johnson, nice guy, smart guy, all of the above, if he loses basketball games. It's just that simple, and it's just the way that it should be.
The reality is, every great coach has been surrounded by great players. Pop, legendary status, thanks to the two guys that were standing by him today, amongst others. Name a great coach that hasn't had great players. And Mitch is set up for success with the timing of taking over now when you look at the foundation. We'll hear from the new Spurs head coach coming up here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. When you need an electrician, you know Hill Electric is available for both residential and commercial needs. I've used Hill Electric for a variety of projects in my home through the years. They've added extra outlets in the garage, spotlight over one of the grills outside, dimmer lights in the living room. For well over 3 decades, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio homes and businesses. Whatever your project is, Hill Electric has the right service at the right price. Never a service charge, always free estimates. So call Hill Electric, 210-404-9074. Whether it's for something at your office, project at the house, 404-9074, or go online, hill-electric.com.
Keep your ride summer road trip ready with parts, tools, and accessories from Summit Racing. We have what you need for pre-trip maintenance, plus essentials like emergency roadside kits, tire inflators, jumper cables, boost jump starters, tool sets, and a whole lot more. So hit the highways or take the roads less traveled with confidence. Shop summitracing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends May 25th, 2025. Summitracing.com. Let's build it together.
Cool. Oh, hi. Welcome to IKEA. How can I help?
Isn't this the parking lot of my daughter's ballet class?
It sure is, but I see you're on IKEA.com ordering some spring items.
Yeah, I'm hosting a barbecue this week. I completely forgot and need everything.
With delivery or pickup options, we've got what you need to conveniently order IKEA literally anywhere.
Convenient. Wait, where are you going?
The next car over just placed an IKEA order too. Busy morning.
You're amazing.
Get IKEA whenever, wherever, however you want. Order from IKEA online and get affordable delivery or choose from thousands of pickup locations.
Find mom's best gift at Target. Now through Mother's Day, get up to 40% off gifts for her. Discover trendy apparel and swimwear that'll elevate any wardrobe. Jewelry that'll make her smile shine brighter, and even chocolate that'll turn any moment into something sweeter. There are endless options to choose from to show her she's the best. Hurry! Save 20 to 40% on select apparel, jewelry, chocolates, and more this Mother's Day only at Target. Restrictions apply.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See dealer for full details and disclaimer.
Missions fans, get ready for AARP $2 Tuesdays at Wolf Stadium, presented by San Antonio Sports Star. Enjoy $2 tickets, beer, hot dogs, and more. This Tuesday, first pitch at 7:05 p.m. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at samissions.com.
Since 1993, Thomas J. Henry dedicated himself to building a firm that injured clients can trust and respect. A firm backed by a track record of success and commitment to our clients. If you've been injured, trust Thomas J. Henry, San Antonio, Texas.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like frames. Because you found a classic 70s concert poster. But when you went to get it framed, you realized the frame will cost about 4 times the amount of the poster. Which is actually absurd because no one will be looking at the frame, and if they are, then you severely overestimated how cool this poster is. But then you remember by switching your home and auto to Progressive, you could save hundreds and put it towards a classic 70s concert poster in an absurdly overpriced frame. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See dealer for full details and disclaimer.
Buyers Barricades is proud to provide traffic control, rental, and sales for work zones and events in the San Antonio area and beyond. Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. Learn more online at buyersbarricades.com. That's buyersbarricades.com.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Maybe you're watching on YouTube. Appreciate that. You can always subscribe to the San Antonio Sports Star YouTube channel. If you're there, hit the thumbs up button. You can comment in there. All kinds of things you can do on YouTube. Maybe even win a prize a little bit later on today. Twitter, at Joe Reinagle 210. Tweet at me, at Jason Menix. Kind of one of those days where you balance celebrating the career of Greg Popovich, who surprised us all today by making an appearance at the press conference introducing the Spurs' new head coach. Kind of press conference we haven't done around here in 30 damn years. And I'm thinking back, and you probably remember this, although I think you and I were both working at Ken's at the time, when Pop fired Bob Hill, that press conference really wasn't really introducing Pop as the new head coach. It was, yeah, I fired that guy, and now I've got the job.
You know, I think I was still here when that happened. That was 96, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't start at Ken's until 97, so
okay.
But I do remember that very clearly. And then Pop hit the sidelines and then took over the following year and has been there ever since. So
I remember doing a show. I was on Ken's AM 1160 back then.
Yeah. I was still right here on KTSA and KTFM. So, but I remember it vividly, and people hated it. People hated Pop for that. If you'll recall, I mean, it's like, how could he do that? Because Bob Hill was very popular with the people, but Bob Hill didn't know how to spell defense, and that irritated Greg Popovich to no end. And so there you go.
You think back, there are certain players that really wanted him to not be the head coach anymore. And now you look at Mitch Johnson as the new head coach. I don't know if fans are excited. I've got, based on social media and, what kind of cesspool that could be, so hard to gauge anything there. You've got a bunch of people that are just mad, which is typical on social media. And then you have a bunch of people that, well, in Pop we trust, in the organization we trust, give them a chance. And Greg Popovich, when he took over, not a popular choice. Was he going to survive 98, 99 or not? He did, but he had a championship, and we would still get fire Pop calls.
Oh, yes.
He had 2 championships, and we would get fire Pop calls. After the third one, it became in Pop we trust, right?
Sure. Look, and we're going to have to trust Pop on this hire as well. Again, see a comment on our YouTube page. I don't get the Mitch hate. I don't think anybody hates Mitch Johnson. I mean, it's almost impossible to do that. He's a great guy. He is a great guy. He's a family man. He's a smart young man, obviously. And nobody hates Mitch Johnson. I think people were just, when you go from a Greg Popovich and you hire a guy that has absolutely, just the experience he got last year, coaching an NBA team. He's been in the organization 10 years. You worry about that, especially when you've got other coaches out there that have done it and done it successfully that have been fired from their jobs. So nobody hates Mitch Johnson. And after today, I like the guy even that much more as a man. Again, we're going to judge him on what he does with the team, wins and losses, period.
One of the comments, Yerd, on our YouTube page, and you can always comment on the San Antonio Sports Star YouTube channel. How can you expect a coach to take over for Pop like that and then win without Wemby for half the season? See, my problem with that there is when Wemby was healthy, they were still losing a lot of games.
They were.
There were times where he looked like he was in over his head. Once Wemby was out, I'm not holding that against him. And De'Aaron Fox, no, he did his job there. He lost a whole bunch of games and got him into the lottery. But when that group was still healthy, when you go back and you think about the majority of November, all of December, all of January, Wemby was there. Well, I know Devin missed some time with injuries. So did Sohan. He was not dealt a good hand. But at the same time, the organization, they're happy with him. He said something today, though, which makes you go, okay, this is why he was hired. This is why they chose not to go out and interview a Malone or a Jenkins or a Becky or a Steve Kerr if they truly didn't do any kind of real search. They just promoted from within. Because this program right now, they're not rebuilding it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of experiences along the way. All the experiences will hopefully be able to be something to have a takeaway from, to grow from, positive or negative. I think being able to be in front of these guys and partner with them and challenge them and lead them is going to be the biggest thing, because I feel like we have a hold on the direction that we're heading into, and we want to build upon something. This is not a restart. This is not a reboot. This is not it's a new chapter because it looks different, but the theme of the book isn't changing.
Well, and I get what he's saying with that. I mean, he's brought up by Greg Popovich, so he's going to continue to do Greg Popovich type things. But when he says it's not a reboot or a rebuild, I mean, they've been rebuilding this team for 7 years. And so, I mean, I hope not. I mean, so that was the problem with hiring of Mitch Johnson in my mind. And again, I said this on Friday. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm apologizing to the guy this time next year. But I just think with where this team is right now, with what they've got their foundation, whatever they're going to do this offseason with the draft and free agency, and this time to kick this thing into high gear. It is not time for on-the-job training. And I feel like that's kind of what we're getting at this point with the head coach of this basketball team.
The part that I wonder about, just hearing him talk about it's not a reboot. It's going to look different because you've got a new head coach, but everybody is on the same page. If you brought in a Mike Malone, would he fully embrace everybody that's on the roster or want to make some changes just to do things differently from Pop? You know, and I could see that, right? Because you're right, it's been 7 years. Take the stroke out, and Pop is still here. The move for De'Aaron Fox, everything is pointing in a certain direction, and they want to make sure the organization does that things stay on that track. From Brian Wright, Pop, RC, Peter J. Holt, and I suppose Mitch Johnson will have some say in the offseason. But if you think about what he said here, I wonder how much input he actually has when it comes to roster construction.
The thing that I will be focusing on the most in this offseason will be this current group of guys and the current players in our roster right now, and get them as much better as we can in that time allowed. And then obviously Brian and the rest of the group will do the due diligence they do, and we will partner and discuss things and be on the same page and aligned as we always are. But I think my sweat equity and time will be devoted to these current guys right here and continue to get them as improved as we can.
So, yeah, that's what he's got to do. That's what he has to say. I mean, most of those guys were in the audience today, right? Like, yeah, but half of this roster is going to be gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're going to change everything. But look, I hope he changes some of this roster. And I hope that Brian Wright changes some of this roster. This roster has been together, young as it may be. And we keep saying young. When is this team not young anymore? I mean, Devin Vassell's been here a while. Keldon Johnson's been here a while. How long are guys young? I mean, at some point in time, I'm watching young guys in Detroit play their butts off. I'm watching young guys in Oklahoma City play their butts off. I don't know how much longer we can use the excuse that these guys are young. They're not.
To me, it's done. I mean, Castle's not going to be a rookie anymore. You got back-to-back rookies of the year. This season, I think they tried to make the playoffs. The blood clot ended that. Reasons or excuses, whatever you want to call it, that's valid reason. You know, nobody wins with injuries. However you count a blood clot, it shut them down for the year. The idea that he'll have input, obviously he's the head coach, but not the same kind of input that Pop had when Pop was both president and a head coach. Kind of felt that way, didn't it? It was an interesting answer. Now, my job is to coach the guys they give me. And it's been a long time that this organization has had, GM coach kind of relationship. You see what blew up things in Denver is Malone and their GM did not get along on anything, and both ended up out of a job. It will be interesting to see now how much more power maybe Brian Wright has, because he's a guy that's also been here for a long time. And it's not lost on any Spur fan. While it's an emotional day and you celebrate an incredible run by Greg Popovich, this team hasn't made the playoffs in 7 years. And they've been rebuilding for a long time. Now, the timing of this, Greg Popovich steps aside and passes the torch, and the cupboard is full, right? It's not like Mitch Johnson is taking over a bad situation with a bad roster that requires a lot of changes. The foundation is set. You got to fill in the other pieces, and if you got to make some trades to go get some, you got all the assets in the world as far as picks to make whatever move you want to make. As Mike Finger told us on Friday afternoon, there is not a team out there that can put together a better package for anybody than what the Spurs can put together.
That's exactly right, and that's why a lot of the talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo has been focused on the Spurs. If Milwaukee's looking for a haul, they can get one from San Antonio. Now, you got to decide the fit. I mean, obviously Giannis is a great player, one of the best in the NBA. You pair him alongside of Wemby, I would imagine just on paper that looks like unbelievable, for lack of a better word. But the Spurs have the assets to go out and make something happen, and I think we saw a big part of that with the De'Aaron Fox trade, and I think they're willing to do that. But again, that's my only concern, and I have no Mitch Johnson hate whatsoever. In fact, it is the complete opposite. I have nothing but respect for that young man. He's classy. He's smart. He does all those things. I just think this team needed a veteran leader and not somebody that's still learning on the job. And Mitch did that. And maybe this year will be completely different. Maybe he'll hit the ground running. He's got the whole offseason, training camp. Nothing's going to be thrown on him unexpected, hopefully. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to root for the guy. I'm going to cheer him on. I hope he wins a ton of games this year. But he's still going to be judged, and he knows this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to hurt his feelings if they hear me or anybody else say this. He's judged on wins and losses, period.
He's judged on wins and losses. And I always say, and I don't care what the job is, and this job is very unique, you never want to be the guy that replaces the legend. You want to be the guy that replaces the guy that replaced the legend, right? I don't care if you're talking about coach, TV anchors, whatever the case is. But the legend handpicked Mitch Johnson. There's a reason for that. And eventually we're going to find out if Pop was right or wrong in that decision. We're going to find out if this job is too big for Mitch Johnson. What we do know, Guy is thrilled to have this opportunity.
I am honored by this opportunity and even more humbled by the people that I'll be able to partner with and serve. And I'd just like to share a few acknowledgement and thank yous. First to the whole family, Peter John, Lauren Kate, Corinna, and JB. To R.C. Buford, Brian Wright, for all you guys do and continue to grow our program and push this place forward and think innovatively. To the staff this past year, under such unique circumstances that supported me and made the job so much more enjoyable around when times were hard and not too overwhelming when things were tough. I thank you for that. It required all of us to step up out of our comfort zones and do a little bit more than was initially expected.
Going to be interesting. And look, I'm happy for him. It's a great opportunity. Obviously, it's a dream come true for Mitch Johnson. There's no question about it. And seeing what I saw today, he's just even kill. I mean, right? The emotion is there. It's steady. And I think that's what we'll see. And make no mistake, Victor Wembanyama, I think, had some input on this.
A lot of it.
We've heard I've heard a couple of different interviews where he just praises Mitch Johnson. So I think that has a lot to do with what we're seeing here today. So, it's not just Wemby. I mean, there were a lot of players that came out and were praising the job that Mitch Johnson did. And again, he'll get a little bit of a clean slate, since obviously he's not going to be thrown into the fire unexpectedly. He's going to know what's coming, and he's going to be able to prepare for it.
You know, it's interesting because maybe Wemby was letting us know the decision had already been made in his end-of-season exit interview. Same with De'Aaron Fox. They all said positive things. And quite honestly, I wouldn't expect anything else from those guys. Maybe they knew something then. Maybe they just anticipated that Pop wasn't coming back and Mitch was going to be the guy. But Greg Popovich, in speaking today, talks about why he has all the confidence in Mitch Johnson.
One of the reasons that I'm doing this now is that we have to have someone in charge who's fully capable of giving their very best, because that's what this group deserves and demands. And we have that man here in San Antonio. Mitch has been in the G League for a few years, behind the bench a few years, on the bench a few years, and then took over this year and did a fantastic job. With circumstances that were very difficult. And we saw him in action, and he was brilliant. The players respect him. He'll hold them accountable, and I couldn't be more thrilled for him and his family and friends.
I like what Pop said. We're going to hold him accountable.
Yep.
And you have to. It's all about wins and losses in professional sports, not how nice somebody is. You got to produce, and he's going to get a chance to produce a couple, 2-3 years, I would imagine, and he'll get that opportunity. So we'll see what happens. And now it's up to Brian Wright to make sure that he's got some bullets in the gun, so to speak.
That's it. I mean, you get this offseason is going to be incredible for the San Antonio Spurs, and one of the biggest questions has been answered. Who's going to be the head coach? We know, whether you like it or not, it is Mitch Johnson. Pop still with the organization as El Jefe, as he put it today, which was great. President of basketball operations. More on this, your phone calls coming up here on the Blitz. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. You know, nobody ever plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. If you get arrested, you want to get out of jail fast, you know the best way to do that is by calling my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text BAIL to 474747, or you can start the bonding process online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option for stress-free bail bonds is AA Best Bail Bonds because nobody beats their price. They offer payment plans, have a free shuttle service. They are discreet and confidential and open 24/7. Offices all over San Antonio and Texas. Services nationwide. Up in Dallas, down in Corpus, anywhere in between. License number 149. Call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, or go online at mybestbailbonds.com.
Riding 410 with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6, KTFM Floresville, and everywhere at sasportstar.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ziprecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ziprecruiter.com/radio. ziprecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Hey, this is Rob Thompson here with my good friends from PrizePicks. I'm just one of millions of members of PrizePicks that play daily fantasy sports every day, and things just keep getting better. How about 2,000x on your cash today? That's right, cash in on the basketball playoffs with PrizePicks. Don't miss your best chance to add your favorite players from the court on PrizePicks lineup. And whether it's points, rebounds, assists, and whatever else, take your pick more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000x your cash today. Turn up your playoff hot takes into tickets on basketball and championship winnings every day. And there's stuff going on all week. Every Tuesday, PrizePicks will discount several projections on the board. They take up to 15 to 25% off savings and fun. And then there's Big Flex Friday. Those picks that don't win, you get your net losses back in promo funds up to your limit as soon as the lineup settles. Hey, there's money back. That's why I love PrizePicks. 2,000 times your money and some free ones. Download PrizePicks. Use the code Alamo for 50 free bucks. That's PrizePicks. Go run your game.
Keep your ride summer road trip ready with parts, tools, and accessories from Summit Racing. We have what you need for pre-trip maintenance, plus essentials like emergency roadside kits, tire inflators, jumper cables, boost jump starters, tool sets, and a whole lot more. So hit the highways or take the roads less traveled with confidence. Shop SummitRacing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends May 25th, 2025. SummitRacing.com. Let's build it together.
Well, Trina, now you're in charge of ordering food for the office, so meet my mountain of menus.
So, this should be easy.
Easy as pie. You know the mathematical constant for a circle circumference to diameter ratio, pi? It's super complicated.
In that case, I'll be using EasyCater. It's got everything on one simple platform. Tons of restaurants, dietary preferences, even digital receipts.
But my mountain of menus.
How about I order us some pie?
EasyCater, the easy way to get food for work.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
Passing of the torch today for the San Antonio Spurs. Mitch Johnson was introduced this morning as the new head coach of the Spurs. Several players, including Wemby, were on hand. Former players were there as well, and a surprise guest, Greg Popovich. He officially passed the torch to Johnson. Up tonight, the Knicks take on the Celtics at 6 for Game 1 of that series, while the Nuggets are in OKC to face the Thunder at 8:30.
Joe Reinagel.
And for the third time in 7 seasons, the San Antonio Spurs are the NBA champions.
Jason Minix.
They go back to big day as Super Bowl champions. Dallas 52, Buffalo 17.
It's the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
It is Cinco de Mayo, isn't it? How about that?
It really is.
The party continues.
Well, it never stops. Although today, do you pass up the margarita and go with an expensive bottle of wine in honor of Greg Popovich?
Yeah, we could do that. Although a margarita sounds good.
Margarita does sound good.
Not bad. Not bad. So whatever your choice is, celebrate how you will. And then we'll continue to talk about Pop and Mitch Johnson and all the changes that we expect and hope for this offseason, and we'll see what happens. But it's been quite the weekend since this news was announced on Friday that Pop was stepping down, that Mitch Johnson was going to be the new guy in the head coach's seat till today with the surprise appearance of Greg Popovich. It's been kind of an emotional ride.
Extremely emotional. I mean, we did not hear from Tim or Manu or any of the players that were there. Wemby, no player talk today. But we will hear from the great Sean Elliott. He will join us at 5:15 today on the Blitz. Now, I didn't see Sean at the facility. I don't know if you did.
Did not, no.
I'd like to think, because he's texting now, all right, 5:15 works. Certainly didn't play golf today. Right?
If he did, he got wet.
I was gonna say, I mean, of all the days to have a golf tournament, of all the days, James Pledger, to burn a day off to go play in a golf tournament, and you dealt with the rain that we had this morning.
Yeah, that's too bad. I had a great weekend for golf.
Yeah.
Weather was absolutely perfect.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was great. Sunshine, about 78 degrees. It was absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Great time.
Good times.
Yep, great time.
Yeah, you played well from what you told me.
Yep. We played well. Just not quite well enough.
Haven't heard from Pledge on if they actually played golf today or just drank. Either way, Pledge took the day off. We got Edwin hanging out this afternoon. Seeing Edwin loves doing this because he got to sleep in today. Yes. We'll see what's happening.
Yeah.
David Macias says no one is answering the phone. Blame Edwin. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. You want to call in, talk pop, Mitch, whatever the case is. We've got a lot to get into throughout the day today. But as we do every day about this time.
This is Jason and Joe's Headline Blitz. Two guys, two opinions, never enough time.
We call it the Headline Blitz. And we'll get back to Pop. If you're tuning in just now, I want to hear you will hear from Pop and a lot of Pop and Mitch Johnson coming up. But there is some big NFL news today. Matt Stafford getting a new contract from the Rams.
Yeah, I don't know how surprising that is. I think, there was talk before that he could be traded, maybe shipped off somewhere else. But he's 37 years old, and it's going to kind of be a year-to-year deal for Stafford. But he's already been given $4 million. That was kind of a bonus or whatever the case may be. But he's going to make $40 million this year, all guaranteed. All of that will be guaranteed. And if he comes back next year, it's another $44 million. He's got to be on the roster to get that. So Matt Stafford was set to make $58 million in 25 and 26. Now he could make up to $84 million.
Jeez.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Nice going away gift for Matt Stafford.
Kinda, right?
Well, look, hey, I think the Rams have a legit shot at a big playoff run. I think they've got the talent, they've got the roster, and if Stafford stays healthy, look out.
There is a couple of President Trump news items today. Typically we stay away from all politics on this show for a variety of reasons. But President Trump, Roger Goodell, they make an announcement today that the 2027 NFL Draft will be held in D.C. on the National Mall.
Yeah, that's just the optics of that.
Yep.
Sound fantastic, right? At the National Mall to have, 300,000, 400,000 people watching the NFL Draft?
All I know is, we were there for the Army-Navy game. That's a big deal. And that's a city that throws big events. And we were seeing at the time of this year's Army-Navy game, which is mid-December, the closures in the construction for the inauguration. I can't imagine how gridlocked things are going to be for the draft if what we saw just for construction for the inauguration, let alone what it was like leading up to the inauguration. Traffic is going to shock.
It's going to be a nightmare
for all the fans that are trying to go to that event. I mean, far cry from a parking lot in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah, no doubt. But it's going to be packed. I mean,
oh, yeah.
It is, and to have it there in our nation's capital is just going to be a lot of fun. So that announcement made today. So interesting stuff.
And a story that kind of grew some legs late Friday and over the weekend, again, involving President Trump, is what he apparently talked about with Nick Saban last Thursday night, graduation at Alabama. President was one of the speakers and spent some time with old Nick Saban, and Nick Saban spent that time bitching about the NIL. And so in typical Donald Trump fashion, well, I'll fix that. Maybe a presidential executive order could be coming regarding NIL payments. Apparently, the president's going to put his staff together to figure out what would be the best way from his office that he could do this. We've said forever nobody wants national government involved in more things except for this needs to be every state playing by the same set of rules. And so maybe there could be an executive order coming.
I'd like to see what this is going to entail once it is out there. Because, look, an executive order is only good while the current president's in office.
Sure.
Because whoever comes in after Trump could rip it up and chaos ensues. So if this does happen and it looks like a good deal, then Congress needs to get involved and make it a law and that way nobody can change it. So we'll see what happens with this, and who knows? It's typical, federal government stuff. It moves at a snail's pace a lot of the time.
Although an executive order, honestly, might be the best way to get at least some equal playing rules until things get figured out. Or maybe just the threat of that gets the NCAA and all these conferences together to get something done.
That could be, that could very well be. And whatever it takes to get something done that kind of fixes this, or at least puts up the so-called guardrails that everybody wants. I don't care who does it or what. Just get it done.
Well, and again, even while we're still waiting, and it's almost an entire month from when we thought we would hear about the revenue share model. That was, what, April 7th?
April 7th.
Right? Now, granted, we knew, okay, that's when the judge was going to hear it. How soon after would we get the decision? It's almost a month, and we still don't have a decision. But we also know as soon as that decision is made, other lawsuits are going to get filed. Would a presidential executive order eliminate all those additional lawsuits or create more?
Well, I think they would create more, probably, but it would end the current ones.
Yeah.
So that would be good news, and hopefully this gets done. Look, I know Nick Saban's getting up there. What is he, 77, 78 years old, something like that? But he would be the guy. I would love to see him in charge of a group or whatever that goes in to fix this thing. I would trust Nick Saban to get this done as much as anybody.
Just put some smart guys in the room, figure out what's the best, and go from there, which is what we've been talking about for forever.
Yep.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Maybe you're watching on YouTube. You can always subscribe to the San Antonio Sports Star YouTube channel. Apparently your nephew's in there watching
on
YouTube.
That?
And old Fred is watching from Massachusetts while he's doing some work in Vermont. However you're watching, wherever you're watching from, appreciate it.
Yeah.
A very historic day in the city of San Antonio. For the first time in 29 years, the Spurs held a press conference to introduce their new head coach, Mitch Johnson. But it was the outgoing head coach that stole the show today. Well, we'll hear in its entirety the words from Greg Popovich coming up here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Lowe's helps refresh your garden in time for Mother's Day. Right now, get 5 bags of 1.5 cubic foot Scott's Naturescapes mulch for just $10. Plus, select 1.5 gallon annuals hanging baskets make the perfect gift. Now 2 for only $15. The best garden starts with great deals. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/7. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase.
With parts, tools, and accessories from Summit Racing, we have what you need for pre-trip maintenance, plus essentials like emergency roadside kits, tire inflators, jumper cables, boost jump starters, tool sets, and a whole lot more. So hit the highways or take the roads less traveled with confidence. Shop SummitRacing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends May 25th, 2025. SummitRacing.com. Let's build it together.
Did you know that 70% of divorces are filed by women? She's already thinking about it. I urge you, do not get caught off guard. I'm Gary Barton, owner of Barton & Associates, attorneys at law. Divorce is tough. It's emotional, challenging, and can upend everything you've worked hard for. But here's the truth. You have a choice. You can either let your spouse dictate the terms, or you can take control and protect your financial future. At Barton & Associates, this isn't just about getting through the process. It's about protecting what you've built, securing your assets, and ensuring you have the resources to move forward with confidence. You've worked hard for everything you have, and we're here to help safeguard it and avoid unnecessary losses. If you're serious about protecting yourself through the divorce process and securing your future, Barton & Associates is the team you need by your side. Call 210-500-0000. That's 210-5-million. Or visit TexasDivorce.com. That's TexasDivorce.com.
Principal Office, San Antonio.
Hey, listen up, San Antonio. Multiple tours overseas, long nights monitoring cyber activity, years of protecting the country. It all adds up at University of Maryland Global Campus. Earn up to 90 credits for prior learning, military experience, and training. We call that credit where credit is due. Whether you're active duty and looking at what's next, or a veteran looking for something new, our degrees and certificate programs teach the application of emerging technologies and enduring life skills. So get started on a degree or certificate with personalized local support services and online and hybrid courses right here in San Antonio. At UMGC, you'll find everything from online to hybrid courses and lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. Apply now and save with no application fee through May 30th. Visit UMGC at San Antonio or umgc.edu/SATX.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Made in America, highest quality. That's Kinetico Quality Water Softeners. There's a reason Dave Ramsey says a Kinetico is a wise investment for your home.
Trust me, Kinetico water systems are the best of the best. I personally have one in my home. All those other water softener systems out there are junk in comparison. Kinetico uses less water and runs on kinetic energy.
So there's no computer to break, fewer moving parts, and it works only when you need it.
It was even voted most efficient water softener in the world by the Water Quality Association.
For a limited time, receive a free reverse osmosis drinking station at your kitchen sink. $400 off with trade-in and 0% interest for 12 months with approved credit. Call Kinetico of San Antonio and the Hill Country. 210-656-PURE.
Check them out at KineticoSA.com and tell them Dave Ramsey sent you.
License number 38961.
KineticoSA.com.
I'm AJ Hoffman from the Morning Huddle. Join me and Rob Thompson tomorrow morning at 6. Your early morning wake-up call on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
It is the Blitz. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minnick. If you're watching on YouTube, appreciate that. Subscribe to the San Antonio Sports Star YouTube channel. You want to react to the news today? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. On Twitter, at Joe Reinagel 210. Tweet at me, at Jason Minnick.
I love some of the comments on our YouTube channel. I can't read one of them, but it's just, it's funny, Jason, because and I get it, and Pop has earned that. The whole "in Pop we trust," and Spurs know what they're doing when it comes to Mitch Johnson, and I hope that's the case. I really do. Again, rooting for Mitch Johnson. I hope he's a successful head coach. But I sent out a tweet on Friday, and it was just Pop did the right thing today, but I don't understand Mitch Johnson. Said that.
Yep.
Why you think I had 5 heads all of a sudden? People, how do you not trust in Pop if they think he's that bad? And I'm like, it's almost cult-like in a way, and I'm happy about it. I mean, I'm glad Spurs fans are that passionate about what's going on, and we'll see. But it's a lot of trust in that front office.
It's interesting because on this show Friday, I know you were off playing golf. I would probably say it was 80-20 negative about Mitch Johnson.
Right.
Because of the available candidates that were out there. Of the 20% or so that were okay with it, I don't know if they're okay with Mitch or I trust the organization to do the right thing. And that's the decision. So you could be mad about it, in a lot of ways, Cowboys, right? All right, Schottenheimer. What was the excitement level there? He's yet to coach a game, but my confidence level has increased based on things that I've heard him say and what other people have said about how he's controlling the room. And it was weird because Friday, I don't know that we truly got to celebrate the incredible career of Greg Popovich, what he's done in this community, what he's done for the organization, just all of it, because they almost immediately announced the hiring of Mitch Johnson and no search. And they took away any speculation of who could get this job right away. Today, press conference for Mitch Johnson. Woke up this morning thinking, all right, today's going to be all about, is Mitch Johnson the right guy for the job? Press conference, they tell us you're going to hear from Peter J. Holt. You're going to hear from Brian Wright. RC is going to be there. And obviously you're going to hear from Mitch Johnson. His introductory press conference. No mention at all of Greg Popovich. Quite frankly, no expectation that we would see Greg Popovich. Right before the press conference started, one of the Spurs PR staffers, a guy named Chris Davis, said, so what's going to happen, guys, is everybody that is going to be walking from over there. And so if you guys want to get some video of that, you probably do. You're going to want to start shooting from over there. Typical B-roll. Here's everybody. Wemby. I'd seen Tim Duncan, so I expected Tim Duncan. All of that. Did not expect to see Greg Popovich, but there he was. And personally, I was like, holy crap, Pop is here. I couldn't believe it. And then obviously I'm watching Pop slowly walk on his own, but flanked by Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili. And he needed help sitting down. Then Peter J. Holt talked and called up Greg Popovich. Stunned that Greg Popovich talked today. This was Pop, his entirety of his speech today, his first public comments since suffering a stroke in November.
Thank you, Peter John. I guess you all know why you're here. Well, Mr. Harris never knows what he's doing, so everybody else knows what they're doing. But Don, he's lost all the time, so he doesn't know what he's doing. Thank you for being here. It's quite a day for many of us, but there's a lot of thank yous after 25 or 30 years. Mitch Johnson, hi. Manu, Timmy. I can never express the gratitude that I have for so many people caring about our organization and sending me thoughts, prayers, that sort of thing since I had this stroke. Things are getting better by the day, but it's not good enough for what we plan ahead, and so it's time to make this change. I want to thank all of you in here, former players, coaches, friends, people from the ticket office, or people who put on a show during timeouts. We all have a part in this. It's not just the players and the coaches. Everybody has been dedicated to do their part to make a successful, thriving organization. And that starts at the top with the Holt family. And we will continue to do our best to do this with class. That's one of the reasons why Mitch Johnson will be taking over, because we have total faith in him to continue what's been started a long time ago. I want to thank all my rehab people, some of whom are here Javier, are you here? Where are you at? Oh, Javier, Courtney, Melissa, you're back there. There's also Jessica, and Rolando, and Christian, who couldn't be here because they have a real job. And of course, Curtis and Nick, who are also here for my rock workouts. And Timmy and Manu, of course, who have been here for all of my workouts here at the Rock. They say it's because they love me and they want to be there in case I fall and they're going to catch me and that sort of thing. I call it payback. As they give the rehab people new ideas of things to do to me. So you're not fooling anybody, especially you, Timmy. I want to thank the fans for being right next to us with every win and every loss over these many years. We feel a close bond with you, and we know that we have a big responsibility to you here in San Antonio, and we will never forget that. But thank you for the years of your support, and we won't let you down. We won't win every game, but we'll try to, and we'll do it with class, whether it's a win or a loss. One of the reasons that I'm doing this now is that we have to have someone in charge who's fully capable of giving their very best, because that's what this group deserves and demands. And we have that man here in San Antonio. Mitch has been in the G League for a few years, behind the bench a few years, on the bench a few years, and then took over this year, did a fantastic job. With circumstances that were very difficult. And we saw him in action, and he was brilliant. The players respect him. He'll hold them accountable, and I couldn't be more thrilled for him and his family and friends. It's just a tribute to him that all the players who were in town were able to come, and especially a special guest, DeJounte Murray, who Mitch has known since he was 9 years old, since DeJounte was 9 years old. He came all this way just to be here for this day, and Mitch and I both appreciate it very much. Obviously, people like David are part of the fabric of what's been established here from the moment he decided to stay in San Antonio. And under the leadership of R.C. Buford and a host of assistant GMs and coaches, former players, we've been fortunate enough to keep it going. And that's the goal, to make sure we keep it going. We've got scouts and people in the film room, people who empty baskets, clean windows, and we're grateful to all of them because everybody does a job. We've got some young players who are going to end up being really great players, some in Austin and many right here in San Antonio. And Mitch Johnson will be the guy that forges their futures. And I'll do everything I can to help him and help them. But I'll have a new job, and I want to make sure everybody understands what the new job is.
So he's taking off his jacket, revealing a T-shirt.
I'm no longer a coach. I'm El Jefe.
And the T-shirt says El Jefe. And with that, Mitch Johnson walked up, extended his hand to shake Greg Popovich's hand. Pop took it, then pulled him in for a hug, and the torch was officially passed.
That's how it went down today at the Performance Center. So Mitch Johnson, the new head coach of your San Antonio Spurs, Greg Popovich in a new role with the Spurs, and we'll see how it works out. That's where we are moving forward. We've got the draft lottery coming up 1 week from today. The draft will happen, and then free agent period will open up as well, and we'll see what the Spurs do and what kind of pieces they put in place to try and get this thing back on the tracks and rolling forward.
And you think about the shoes that Mitch Johnson is filling. Hard to even fathom. Today's display was truly remarkable in a sense of, if you've seen the video, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, at some point you will. And you should make it a point to go watch the video. We hear words like Spurs family and Spurs culture. Visually, we got to see that today with legends Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili walking with Coach Pop out, helped him stand up to go to the podium the entire time he was talking. Both of them were there, standing beside Pop. Neither one said a word, but in case Pop needed an assist, those two legends were standing right there. I will say this. Tell me if you saw the same thing. Tim kind of sat there with his hands, just kind of head down, just kind of focused. Manu had a look on his face like he works for the CIA and was guarding the president, just in case. His eyes, eagle-eyed, on Pop the entire time, ready to jump into action if needed.
Well, there was a time that Pop hesitated, and there was a pause, and Manu looked at Pop like, uh-oh, is everything okay? And yeah, it is. Both of those guys really looked at Greg Popovich, and you know what he means to both of those guys. It's obvious. You can't say it any better than they showed it today. So it's very it's eye-opening, and I don't know why it's eye-opening, because Pop has always treated Spurs players as family. He has, not just the players. I mean, you ask Tom James, who is the head PR guy with the Spurs, same way. And it's just that's what he does. If you're a part of that family, you are a part of that family, and that's just the way that it is.
And what's crazy, it's bigger than just Spurs family. I don't know that any of us will truly understand the impact that Greg Popovich has made on the NBA world. Listening to Draymond Green over the weekend talking about Greg Popovich, interesting.
You get this this wall that everyone sees. You know how everybody say everyone says Steven Adams a gentle giant. That's Pop. You got this wall that's you ask a dumb question, he's gonna crush you, right? And it just appears as if he's this mean old man. And he is the complete opposite. Complete opposite. The nicest person you ever want to be around. He cares about people so much.
He does. He just cares about people. And Draymond Green went on about Pop for several minutes.
It sucked playing against the Spurs this year and look over and not see him there. And to know that I'll never get that opportunity again, I just wish I had one last time to go hug him on the sideline before a game. I know I sound like he's dead. He's not, but he's meant so much to this league, and he means so much to me. His job well done, well-deserved retirement. I hope he enjoys the hell out of it. Clearly, he's not going far because he's going to stay working in basketball. But, man, just everything he's meant to this game. And I'm incredibly grateful that I had the opportunity to play for him.
When you hear something like that, and it's anybody, just about anybody you talk to that's had any kind of interaction with Greg Popovich, he always treated you with respect, but he always held you accountable. And, you ask a dumb question at a press conference, he's going to call you out.
Yep.
But that's who Greg Popovich is. And he did the same with the players. Tim Duncan was not immune from it. David Robinson was not immune from it. None of those guys were immune from the wrath of Pop when they needed to be yelled at or whatever. Tony Parker may have been the worst. Tony Parker, jeez, you would feel sorry for Tony Parker because, but it was done in a way to make Tony Parker better. It wasn't done to demean him. It was done because Pop knew the talent that he had, and he tried to get the best out of him. And he did get the best out of Tony Parker. 4 championships, a finals MVP, all of that stuff. So Tony Parker credits Pop with that. But he treats everybody with respect, especially the players that play in the NBA, not just with the San Antonio Spurs, but all of them.
And you think about the impact, basketball game last night that we'll talk about coming up. Pregame, Steve Kerr wearing a T-shirt that says, "Thank you, Pop." Ime Udoka wearing the exact same T-shirt. Both talking about their relationships and their careers are, in a lot of ways, credited to Pop. But the relationship is so much more than just basketball. I think Steve Kerr might have said it best, like, Pop's going to kill me for wearing this shirt, but, and you know what I see on social media today, all the El Jefe T-shirts that are already available.
Exactly right.
It is crazy. You want to talk about Pop? New head coach Mitch Johnson. We'll get into what we saw last night on the basketball court. It was nice, Houston, but you're done. Let's talk about it. Coming up here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Man, we've been getting a lot of rain lately, haven't we? I mean, overnight last night, this morning, heavy rain, all of that kind of stuff. It's just that time of year in San Antonio and South Texas. And it's a good time of year to make sure that your roof is ready for what we're in for, because it's not going to end right now. I mean, we still have some springtime left. Those storms are still going to roll around. You need to remember Stevens Roofing and Solar. Stevens Roofing and Solar, a family-owned company, locally based company. And what's good about that is they live here. They work here. They know the weather that we face. Right? So they can give you sound advice in how to take care of it. The team at Stevens Roofing and Solar is going to make sure that that roof of yours is in top shape because you want it to be, to protect your home and your family. Stevens Roofing right now, if you give them a call at 210-785-0994, they will send out a crew. They'll give you a no-obligation roof inspection. And it's good. They'll get up there. They'll check everything out. They may come back and say, yeah, your roof's in pretty bad shape. You need a new one. Or there's a little spot over there on the left-hand side that just needs a minor repair. Or they may come down and say, you know what, your roof is in great shape. Have a nice day. Either way, they're going to give you the peace of mind that you need when those storms come rolling in. Stevens Roofing, the absolute best in the business. Give them a call, 210-785-0994.
If you've been injured in an accident, you know there's no shortage of attorneys who want your business. But when it comes to results, the numbers speak for themselves. Thomas J. Henry secured over $1 billion for clients in the past 4 years. We've successfully represented thousands of injured Texans, earning over 12,000 five-star reviews on Google. So, who is the right attorney for you? Just look at the numbers. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. San Antonio, Texas.
There's a reason Intuitive Services Group handles our janitorial needs here at 94.1. They're local and serious about cleanliness. From nightly cleaning to detailed floor care, they deliver. We trust them and you can too. Call Mo at 830-470-3007. That's 830-470-3007.
Hunger striking, snack time calling, it's crunch time. Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds brings you the boldest protein-packed crunch you can't resist with mouth-watering flavors like hot honey, sweet barbecue, and sea salt and cracked black pepper. Why settle for chips when you can level up your snacking game? Plus, they're low-carb, high-protein, and made for adventurous appetites. Score big flavor today. Grab Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds at H-E-B.
Mellow Mushroom has the best pizza in San Antonio. Mellow delivers the best pizza experience with their delicious dough, premium ingredients, and unique flavors. Delivering a higher order of pizza is the standard. If Mellow can make a pizza this delicious, imagine what they can do with munchies, greens, calzones, and burgers. Mellow Mushroom has San Antonio's best happy hour with food specials and half-off adult beverages. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/radio, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs, with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Get a taste of that winning feeling before the buzzer even sounds with ESPN Bet's Early Victory promo. Simply place a pregame moneyline bet on any NBA playoff game, and if the team you back goes up by 20 or more points at any point in the game, you get paid out early. Available throughout the NBA playoffs at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Download the app today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star on YouTube. Subscribe to the San Antonio Sports Star YouTube channel. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jay Semenix. You can always get us on social media at Joe Reinagel 210. Tweet at me at Jay Semenix, or even old school. Let's talk about it. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776.
What a day. What a weekend. What a just a roller coaster ride, if you will. Friday's news, while we've been calling for it and looking for it, we got the news that Pop was stepping down, and then we shortly thereafter the news that Mitch Johnson would be the guy that would take over. I think both of those things, it happened. You kind of figured the Pop thing was going to happen at some point, but the Mitch Johnson announcement, a little bit surprising. I won't lie to you. It was a little bit surprising. But then today, look, Mitch Johnson's a great guy. He's a great guy, and he deserves our support and respect, and we'll see what happens. But again, I don't think it's unfair to say, regardless of how you feel about Mitch Johnson or what he does, he's no different than anybody else who coaches professional sports in this country. Wins and losses, that's what matters.
You know, the reality is, and you say surprise, I don't know how surprised I was, but I was disappointed because of the veteran candidates that are out there. Keeping everything smooth, the same, Spurs way. So, again, I'm maybe a little surprised, but more disappointed. But I will support him, and I hope that he proves me wrong. I hope in a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, you know, a little off to the side conversation where he gives me the "I told you so" or whatever the business. Although I don't know him well. I don't know him at all, so I say I don't know him well enough. I don't know if he's got that kind of personality, but I hope he takes all the comments that question if he's the right guy for this job and uses those as motivation. And over time, it will be there. You know, quite frankly, similar kind of things were said about old Greg Popovich when he took over because he fired Bob Hill and made himself coach. And, you know, they didn't win any games, but that got him a Tim Duncan. And that got him to be the greatest coach of all time. But Pop, more than wins and losses, it's his ability to connect with people, his leadership style. And you could see some of that in a Mitch Johnson. Handpicked by a GOAT to replace you. Do you give him a fair shake? I mean, as Spurs fans, we will.
You have to.
You know how it is in San Antonio. I mean, you know, we were talking with Jacob Toby, the new Spurs TV guy, today over at the press conference. And I know on Friday I used Jacob is an example because of a video he posted on his Instagram page where he asked Pop any advice for me, and Pop said, be you. And if they don't like you, screw them. I imagine Pop has given similar advice to Mitch Johnson, and will continue to give that same advice to Mitch Johnson.
Well, and that's all great. And with all due respect to Jacob Toby, if people don't like him, he's not going to be there long. I mean, it's just that simple, right? And it's the same way with Mitch Johnson. If he doesn't win basketball games, he's not going to be there long. So I love Pop's bravado. That's great because Pop didn't give a damn what anybody thought, but he had the resume behind him to do that. So, hey, you got to win in this league. That's what it's all about. It's not about being a nice guy. It's not about anything other than wins and losses. And for Mitch Johnson to be successful, the team has got to have the pieces in place around him. And if he doesn't win, he's not going to get a 29-year career with the Spurs.
No.
Greg Popovich's got 5 championships under his belt. That's why he stayed around as long as he did. And that's the only reason.
And let's not forget, there were some times where you wondered if he was going to keep his job or not. There were some times where you thought he might actually get fired before that first title and maybe even after that first title. I mean, we were getting fire Pop calls when the dude had a ring and 2 rings. It was 3 rings before it became in Pop we trust. And, yeah, Mitch Johnson, the bar is high. You know, it's Cinco de Mayo. Next year on May 5th, we better be talking about a playoff team because these playoffs have been a lot of fun, and I sure as hell wish my San Antonio Spurs were a part of it. You think about, well, we got 2 game ones tonight. Knicks and Celtics tonight, game 1. Nuggets Thunder in game 1. Nuggets, congratulations. Ryan Eagles' adopted team took care of that
Very
dude.
happy
and
about
the
getting
Clippers.
rid of number 2.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's all that, I mean, really, you know, small victories in San Antonio. That guy is on his way to Cancun. Both Los Angeles teams out in the first round.
I think it's great. And look, I think this Denver, I think they've got they have
Oklahoma City?
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, they got no shot. They got Oklahoma City's on its way to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. The way Russell Westbrook is playing, he's been the spark to that team. Yeah, I mean, you expect it from Murray and the Joker, but Russell Westbrook was the X factor in that Clippers series. That guy's been fantastic. If he keeps playing like that, I wouldn't count Denver out at all. They're getting 10 points tonight from Oklahoma City. 10.
Well, I mean, are you betting for the win or the cover?
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
I wouldn't disrespect Denver. They've got the best player on the planet, first of all, in Joker, and they've got a couple of players that are playing very well. Oklahoma City's a great team, but I don't think it's going to be an easy series by any stretch of the imagination.
I tell you, you look at what we have left. Now, let's so as we're congratulating people going on vacation, our friends down I-10, congratulations, losing Game 7 at home. Boy, the Rockets were bad last night offensively. They were almost as bad as that uniform script. I know that was supposed to be H-Town, but it looked like H-Gown. What the hell was that? I mean, that was bizarre. Golden State, veteran team, moving on. How about that? Second round, it's 6-7 matchup. They get Minnesota, which obviously won't be easy. And, those Indiana Pacers are proving to be a little bit better than what a lot of people thought. They take game 1 against Cleveland on the road at 121-112.
And Cleveland suffered a couple of injuries in that ball game that are concerning for them moving forward. So I tell you what, that Indiana Pacer team is impressive. It really is impressive. So we'll see what happens over there in the East. But the one series that I'm looking at, and I was a Detroit Pistons fan just to beat the Knicks.
Yep.
The Knicks have no shot at doing anything against Boston. No shot.
No,
that's going to be your easy series.
I have said since basically the beginning of the season, my finals pick is OKC against Boston. So I'm not moving off of that. What I love is the national media types, the Knicks. I know a lot of them are in New York or from that area. I don't think Boston sweeps them, but I don't give the Knicks a chance to win this series. I'd be surprised, honestly, if it went 6. I think it goes 6, probably not 5, certainly not 4, but I'd be stunned if this thing took 7 games.
There's no way. Look, Boston beat New York 4 straight in the regular season. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be another 4 straight. Look, the Knicks are disappointing. They're going to disappoint again. They've got one player, and they're disappointing. And Boston has just got way too much. Maybe it goes 5. That's a possibility. But Boston handles New York without a problem.
Yeah, and I expect OKC to take care of the Nuggets. I'm curious when you look ahead, Warriors, Timberwolves, they play their first game tomorrow, game 1 of that series in Minnesota. Golden State needing 7 games, although they found it yesterday. There were a couple games where they looked tired. The fact that Houston was able to force that to a game 7, the energy level that Minnesota is going to have versus the energy I think Golden State might have. Game 1 might be ugly, but Steve Kerr and a veteran group, they could figure out how to do things. But, man, I tell you, man, Anthony Edwards seems like he's on a mission to prove a lot of people wrong.
There's no doubt about it. I love that guy. The way he plays ball is incredible. It's going to be an interesting series. It will be. Just the veteran leadership that Golden State has makes a big difference. And I think that I don't think they're going to win this series. I actually think Minnesota will take it, but it may be a better series than you think.
I just know in the West, the 2 LA teams are done. Houston's done. So you got a 1-4 matchup versus a 6-7 matchup in the West. In the East, a 1-4 and a 2-3. East is going chalk. West, a bleep show. Next year, Mitch Johnson. The Spurs need to be in this mix. The Spurs better be in this mix. When you look at the foundation that he has, not a lot of new coaches, let alone rookie coaches, get handed a roster like what Mitch Johnson is getting. Not only that, let's look at the current roster. It might look a lot different by the time basketball season rolls around because they've got all the trade assets in the world and a couple of lottery picks coming up. So, whatever Brian Wright and Pop and the Brain Trust decide to do as far as any trades, they could do that. We know Wemby will be here. We know Steph Castle will be here. I expect Castle to be here, although, there's one trade rumor out there that might cost you a Castle, although it would be so un-Spurs-like to do that deal. And you got De'Aaron Fox. The core is here.
Well, a lot's going to depend on what happens next Monday night. We'll see where the Spurs are in this whole thing, but one of those draft picks could be sent somewhere else, depending on where it is or what it is, and if it's big enough, maybe both. Who knows what might happen? I just want this team to get some pieces in place, and I'm ready to go. And if Mitch Johnson can get that done, I will apologize to that man till the cows come home. And maybe he is the right guy for the job. We will see, and time will tell.
210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. David, you're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Thank you to Edward. I had a comment that I wanted to say earlier, but then something just snapped, and I'm 65 years old. And I realized that Pop's been with the organization since the Larry Brown days, and that's almost half of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to thank him for what he's done for this city and the organization and for my team. It's tremendous. And I wish and I hope for the best of luck for Coach Johnson. And I'm going to leave you guys with a quote from the great philosopher Mick Jagger.
Okay.
He once said, "You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you might just find you get what you need." And I think Coach Johnson is just what we need. Thanks, guys.
All right, David. Thanks.
Appreciate it. I've never thought of old Mick Jagger as a great philosopher.
I think I understand what he's trying to say there, that maybe you don't want Mitch Johnson, but he might be the right guy for the job. And maybe he will be. And trust me, folks, I'm going to root my butt off for this guy, and I wish him nothing but success. Had I wished it maybe gone a different way? Sure. But let's hope that Mitch Johnson gets the job done.
Well, satisfaction. If we're going with Rolling Stone titles,
Sure, why not?
And we all know Spurs fans, and the conversation the last several months was the expectation was, even though Pop in his statements, the desire to return to coaching was there, I think the longer he stayed out of public eye, the more we all realized deep down he wasn't coming back. So who was going to be the next? And when you look at some of the available veteran coaches out there, guys that you would want to lead your team, it's understandable that you want something that's more of a proven commodity. You know, the idea of an interim coach, he takes over. He didn't win a lot of games. There were times last year it felt like Mitch was in over his head, which is completely understandable. But we watched games. They were watching him run meetings, film sessions, practices, how he handled everybody in the building. And they obviously were impressed with him prior to making him the interim head coach. And we might look at games and say, you didn't do enough for me. But clearly the Spurs brass thought otherwise.
They did, and he's been with the organization for 10 years. So he knows the culture. He knows the Spurs way. And I'm sure all of that had a lot to do with it. And, oh, by the way, that Wemby fella, he had a lot to do with it as well. So I think he gave his endorsement to Mitch Johnson. So, look, the players do respect him. That was said today on a couple of different occasions. The players respect Mitch Johnson. They like him. And, look, I hope Mitch is true to his word, and I have no reason to believe he's not. Today he said, if you got to yell at guys, you got to yell at guys. If you got to hug them, you hug them. But I think he knows the difference, and hopefully that is the case. But if he is the same mold as Greg Popovich, where you're not afraid to yell at a Wemby, for example, if he does something wrong, or a De'Aaron Fox, or whomever else they may bring in here, then I'm good with that. And if he's in the same mold as Greg Popovich, then he'll do just fine.
You know, I want to branch off of what you just said coming up here. On the Blitz, you want to chime in on Pop talking today for the first time since the stroke, the official announcement of Mitch Johnson at his press conference today, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. If you're a business owner, a manager, a club leader, and you need your logo on any kind of gear, make sure you get into Sammy's Embroidery and Printing down on San Pedro, especially if you need a golf shirt, fishing shirt, any kind of shirt with your logo on it. The spring line is on display over in that massive showroom, including a bunch of caps. Man, Sam has over 25,000 caps and more than 75 color combinations on display in his showroom, and all the popular cap brands like the Richardson 112 style trucker caps, Katie caps, Nike Cap America, to name a few, and they are in stock just waiting for your logo. You need t-shirts, screen printed, go see Sam. Uniforms, he has over 700 uniform lines to choose from, all kinds of industries. Nobody has better prices, no order too big, no order too small. Call Sammy's Embroidery and Printing, 210-824-3900, 824-3900, or go by that massive showroom down on San Pedro, 1 mile inside Loop 410, next to Big Lots across from McDonald's, or check the website, samsembroidery.com, for Sammy's Embroidery Club.
Riding home with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6, KTFM Floresville, and everywhere at sasportstar.com.
You know the Roo Pub has proven to be the best place to watch games with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. All the games, all the fights, and when you show up at the Roo Pub, show up hungry. The food is fantastic. Open daily at 11. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and the best place to watch a game. Just down from the big blind, right next to the Angry Elephant. The Roo Pub, 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
Well, Trina, now you're in charge of ordering food for the office, so meet my mountain of menus.
So, this should be easy.
Easy as pie. You know the mathematical constant for a circle circumference to diameter ratio, pi? It's super complicated.
In that case, I'll be using EasyCater. It's got everything on one simple platform. Tons of restaurants, dietary preferences, even digital receipts.
But my mountain of menus.
How about I order us some pie?
EasyCater, the easy way to get food for work.
Injuries happen, and when they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocations, sprains, and strains. Conveniently located in the Quarry area with extended hours Monday through Saturday with on-site x-ray casting and bracing, Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. Learn more online at tsaog.com.
Did you know that 70% of divorces are filed by women? She's already thinking about it. I urge you, do not get caught off guard. I'm Gary Barton, owner of Barton & Associates, attorneys at law. Divorce is tough. It's emotional, challenging, and can upend everything you've worked hard for. But here's the truth. You have a choice. You can either let your spouse dictate the terms, or you can take control and protect your financial future. At Barton & Associates, this isn't just about getting through the process. It's about protecting what you've built, securing your assets, and ensuring you have the resources to move forward with confidence. You've worked hard for everything you have, and we're here to help safeguard it and avoid unnecessary losses. If you're serious about protecting yourself through the divorce process and securing your future, Barton & Associates is the team you need by your side. Call 210-500-0000. That's 210-5-million. Or visit TexasDivorce.com. That's TexasDivorce.com.
Principal Office, San Antonio.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
Well, the Baltimore Ravens have released kicker Justin Tucker. Tucker has been accused of inappropriate behavior by 16 massage therapists from 8 different Baltimore spas. The Ravens claim it is football decision. San Antonio Spurs have a brand new head coach, Mitch Johnson, introduced this morning. Several players, including Wemby, were on hand, along with former players and Greg Popovich, who officially patched the torch.
Sports Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas Authority in Barricade Rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
Joe Reinagel.
That's the 3rd time in 7 seasons. The San Antonio Spurs are the NBA champions.
Jason Minix.
They go back to big day as Super Bowl champions. Dallas 52, Buffalo 17.
It's the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix on this Cinco de Mayo Monday. Glad to have you along. If you're driving home, listening on 94.1, thank you. If you're still at work, watching on YouTube, appreciate that. Maybe you're at the house watching us on the big screen. However you're watching while enjoying a margarita. Oh,
I got to turn that on.
That was pathetic.
Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
What the?
Woo! Let the party continue.
Uh-huh. So you just saying Sports Center was a football decision, eh?
That's what the Ravens are saying.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Here is the full statement from the Ravens GM. Sometimes football decisions are incredibly difficult, and this is one of those instances. Considering our current roster, we've made the tough decision to release Justin Tucker. Justin created many significant and unforgettable moments in Ravens history. His reliability, focus, drive, resilience, and extraordinary talent made him one of the league's best kickers for over a decade. We're grateful for Justin's many contributions while playing for the Ravens. We sincerely wish him and his family the very best in the next chapter of their lives.
Didn't he go to school at Texas?
It doesn't matter. It's been a long time, sir.
Yeah, I think he went to school at Texas. Texas Longhorn, Texas X.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, ain't no massage therapist complaining on Austin about this guy.
Not yet.
You're right. Decisions are difficult. Justin made this one very easy for you, Eric DaCosta.
No, look, it's a sad thing, and obviously we're talking about a man's life here, but Deshaun Watson went through this. Now Justin Tucker's going through this, so we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see. Look, he's a talented guy, and he's still got a lot left in the tank, and if he gets out of this somehow, some way, I mean, look, Deshaun Watson made out pretty well.
Yeah, but nobody's given a kicker $250 guaranteed, and quite honestly, he wasn't as reliable as he once was. So I think that made it an easier decision. I mean, I'm just you just read the statement. Justin created many significant and unforgettable moments in Ravens history. And we would like to forget the moments in which why we are getting rid of him is really what he meant to say there. It ain't all football. That's for sure.
No, it's not. Look, the Ravens don't want to go through this. It's being litigated, and they just don't want to go through that. And it's to the point where, look, they got another kicker, by the way, already. And so I think that it was just time to move on.
One of the questions that I have, what is about to come out that they know?
Could be.
Because they didn't release him initially. They did draft a guy just in case. But they've been doing their own investigation. So what did they learn where they decided, yep, you've got to go now? Not, let's have a kicking competition, because it's not unusual for a team to draft a kicker late, and then that guy doesn't make the team. It's not unusual to have multiple kickers in camp, kicking legs, if you will. What did the Ravens learn in recent days where they decided today, yeah, we ain't messing with this anymore, you're done?
I don't know. They had to have found out something, or they've been doing their own investigation. I mean, the NFL does that.
Yep.
And so they did. They found something that I'm sure we will know about sooner rather than later. So Justin Tucker out as a Baltimore Raven. Look, that guy was good for them, though. He really was. He was damn near perfect on a lot of seasons. And so he was good for them, but they felt like, and we're not going to go through this.
Now, the Hall of Fame voters are only supposed to judge what happens between the white lines. Anything personal, they're not supposed to take into consideration. If they just take what Justin Tucker has done in the National Football League, he will end up in Canton, Ohio. He is that good of a kicker.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Tell that to Pete Rose.
Again, the football says we judge. Now, Pete Rose was banned, and part of his ban was you can't go to the Hall of Fame.
Which I think will come to an end at some point in time. But
I don't know, Pete, he's not alive to enjoy it. He can't make any more money on his autographs in Vegas by adding HOF. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, you look at a lot of people have done a lot of bad things.
Yes, they have.
That are in the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
And Justin Tucker, if you're just judging him on his play, a granite kicker, hard for a kicker to get in. Hell, it's hard for a safety, Darren Woodson, to get in. But Justin Tucker would be on the list. I'd be surprised if in 5, 6, 8 years, whenever he officially retires and goes through that 5-year waiting window, if he's at least not a finalist.
Well, let's see if he. I mean, yeah, if he. I would think so. The guy's 35 years old, though. I mean, and kickers, I guess, can last a little longer than others. But you're right. When
nobody's going to touch that.
His production was not so good last year, and maybe this is a reason why he had a lot on his mind, or he was just out late. Either way, he wasn't very good, and that's for sure. So, Justin Tucker no longer a Raven. Interesting stuff.
Very interesting. Couple of things today. Incredible day here in San Antonio. Press conference to introduce Mitch Johnson as the new head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. The first time in 29 years the organization has had a press conference to introduce a new coach. But the surprise was the outgoing coach showed up.
When I find it ironic in a lot of ways, because I thought Friday, when we got the release that Greg Popovich was going to step down as head coach and move into the front office, I think Mitch Johnson, the hiring of Mitch Johnson, stole the thunder from that. And today, I think it's just the opposite. I think Greg Popovich is stealing the thunder back from Mitch Johnson in a lot of ways, because what's everybody talking about? Not necessarily Mitch Johnson being the new head coach of the Spurs. They're talking about Greg Popovich and his speech at this press conference.
And we will play his speech coming up here on The Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. You'll hear from Greg Popovich for the first time since he suffered that stroke back in November. You know, guys, summer is here. We got gatherings coming up with your friends, your family. You got different activities, vacations you're going to go on. How are you going to keep up with all of that if your testosterone is draining your energy? Answer is simple. TRT with Synergenics and Low T Center. Learn more at fixmylowt.com. They might seem convenient, but you think about those online TRT services, they can be a hassle. Just to get started, you have to spend hundreds of dollars and waste time with unreliable test kits. Then you wait for days to get your lab results, and that's before you even begin your treatment. They say you meet with the doctor, but a lot of times you don't even see an actual person on screen. Not really who you want to trust your health with, do you? No. Worst off, you got to wait again to get your meds. Not quality care at all. Trust the experts at Synergenics and Low T Center. They have been changing patients' lives for a combined 25 years. They understand what guys need. They are in person and make it easy to get started with the quality of care you deserve. Never a better time to start TRT than right now, because they have a free consultation and a free T-test. It's free, it's fast, and they have on-site labs to process your test quickly. And if you qualify, you can start treatment that day. They got locations conveniently located across the San Antonio area, even up in New Braunfels, where you can be seen by one of Synergenics or Low T Center's healthcare professionals and get started right away. They give you the power to take control of your health. You even have the option of white glove in-center care or medically monitored custom dose TRT at home. And for guys looking to lose a few pounds, Synergenics and Low T Center make it easy with prescription weight loss medication, and you will receive a free B12 shot on that same day. Most major insurances are accepted, so you have no excuse. Book that initial appointment now at fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com.
Transform your water with Connecticut. For a limited time, receive a free reverse osmosis drinking station, $400 off with a trade-in, and 0% interest for 12 months with approved credit. Don't wait. The offer ends soon. Call Connecticut today.
George gets justice. The accident wasn't your fault, but now you're facing pain, bills, and uncertainty. You don't have to do it alone. At George Salinas Injury Lawyers, they listen, explain your options, and fight for what you deserve. No upfront costs, no stress, just real help when you need it. If you've been injured, it's time to get George. Call George Salinas Injury Lawyers at 210-225-0909 or visit getgeorge.com. George gets justice. Getgeorge.com.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by tax relief advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147 or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Let's Rodeo San Antonio Brahma Style. The herd you love returns to the Alamo Dome for their Let's Rodeo theme game. Join us Friday, May 9th at 7 p.m. when your San Antonio Brahmas battle the DC Defenders. Dust off your boots and grab your cowboy hat to celebrate with rodeo-inspired fun for the whole family. Enjoy a pregame happy hour in the H-E-B Plaza with $3 frozen margaritas and beer. Get your tickets today at UFLBrahmas.com. That's UFLBrahmas.com for tickets. Our town, our team, our herd.
Calling all snack MVPs, it's time to huddle up with Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, the low-carb, high-protein snack with a flavor-packed crunch. From sea salt and cracked black pepper to hot honey, sweet barbecue, and more, these bold bites are ready to tackle your crunch time cravings. Find your flavor playbook at H-E-B and make every bite count, because when it's crunch time, there's only one snack you need on your team: Southern Recipe Small Batch.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
He is Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minnick. It is The Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Maybe you're watching on YouTube. You can always watch us there. Just subscribe to the San Antonio Sports Star YouTube channel.
Yeah, and thanks for all the comments there. I love hearing Spurs fans and basketball fans in general, chiming in and saying what they like, what they don't. And I think today, where you were saying Friday was probably 80-20, disappointed with the Mitch Johnson announcement. I think today it may be the other way. I just think Spurs fans are ready to move on from what was a very sad time with the stroke of Greg Popovich, and now we can concentrate. The coach is in place. Now you can concentrate on building this team.
I think your initial reaction on Friday is probably accurate, and by Monday afternoon, you embrace what is there because the decision was made. And there is a lot of trust between the organization and the fan base here in San Antonio, even though we're all tired of skipping steps and all that kind of stuff. It's been 7 years, but I think we all understand the foundation is there. The winning ways are on the horizon. And today they called a press conference. For the first time in 29 years, Spurs are going to introduce a new head coach. Historic. The idea, knowing the health issues that Pop is battling, nobody, I don't think, expected Greg Popovich to be there today. He was not scheduled, at least on the release, to be there. They sent, here's who you're going to hear from on Monday. Pop's name was not on there. Giving you an idea, we're at the Spurs practice facility over there at the Rock. They've got the deal set up. And I did think it was interesting at first because they had a podium and then they had a table with chairs, a couple of microphones. And And I thought that was odd, although I guess somebody was going to direct things from the podium and Mitch and Brian Wright and Peter Holt would be sitting at the table.
Well, it was Chris, the Spurs PR guy, said that Peter Holt would address us, and then it would be introduced, the Mitch Johnson show. So I didn't think anything about it because Holt stood at the podium, and it's like, okay, so when he said that, I didn't think anything of it. And then you've described it perfectly when you said Chris was telling everybody they're going to come from this way, and you really ought to have your cameras and your phones running and get this on video.
And again, typical B-roll. I'd seen Tim in the building when we walked in. You know, Wemby was there, so everybody walking out. It's good B-roll for the TV types. Then you see Greg Popovich. And personal. I see Wemby. I see Timmy. C5-0. I was just focused on Greg Popovich. Other guys that were walking through, I was looking around going, man, I didn't see so-and-so. Didn't see, because I think my eyes, and I imagine everybody else in that room, you were just focused on Pop is here.
Yeah.
And he was being flanked by Tim and Manu. And then he sat down. Peter J. Holt talked. And then Greg Popovich talked.
Thank you, Peter John. I guess you all know why you're here. Well, Mr. Harris never knows what he's doing, so everybody else knows what they're doing. But Don, he's lost all the time, so he doesn't know what he's doing. Thank you for being here. It's quite a day for many of us, but there's a lot of thank yous after 25 or 30 years. Mitch Johnson, hi. Manu, Timmy. I can never express the gratitude that I have for so many people caring about organization and sending me thoughts, prayers, that sort of thing since I had this stroke. Things are getting better by the day, but it's not good enough for what we plan ahead, and so it's time to make this change. I want to thank all of you in here, former players, coaches, friends, people from the ticket office, or people who put on a show during timeouts. We all have a part in this. It's not just the players and the coaches. Everybody has been dedicated to do their part to make a successful, thriving organization. And that starts at the top with the Holt family. And we will continue to do our best to do this with class. That's one of the reasons why Mitch Johnson will be taking over, because we have total faith in him to continue what's been started a long time ago. I want to thank all my rehab people, some of whom are here. Javi, are you here? Where are you at? Oh, Javier, Courtney, Melissa, you're back there. There's also Jessica, and Rolando, and Christian, who couldn't be here because they have a real job. And of course, Curtis and Nick, who are also here for my rock workouts. And Timmy and Manu, of course, who have been here for all of my workouts here at the Rock. They say it's because they love me and they want to be there in case I fall and they're going to catch me and that sort of thing. I call it payback. As they give the rehab people new ideas of things to do to me. So you're not fooling anybody, especially you, Timmy. I want to thank the fans for being right next to us with every win and every loss over these many years. We feel a close bond with you, and we know that we have a big responsibility to you here in San Antonio, and we will never forget that. But thank you for the years of your support, and We won't let you down. We won't win every game, but we'll try to, and we'll do it with class, whether it's a win or a loss. One of the reasons that I'm doing this now is that we have to have someone in charge who's fully capable of giving their very best, because that's what this group deserves and demands. And we have that man here in San Antonio. Mitch has been in the G League for a few years, behind the bench a few years, on the bench a few years, and he took over this year, did a fantastic job. With circumstances that were very difficult, and we saw him in action, and he was brilliant. The players respect him. He'll hold them accountable, and I couldn't be more thrilled for him and his family and friends. It's just a tribute to him that all the players who were in town were able to come, and especially a special guest, DeJounte Murray, who Mitch has known since he was 9 years old, since DeJounte was 9 years old. He came all this way just to be here for this day, and Mitch and I both appreciate it very much. Obviously, people like David are part of the fabric of what's been established here from the moment he decided to stay in San Antonio. And under the leadership of R.C. Buford and a host of assistant GMs and coaches, former players, we've been fortunate enough to keep it going. And that's the goal, to make sure we keep it going. We've got scouts and people in the film room, people who empty baskets, clean windows, and we're grateful to all of them because everybody does a job. We've got some young players who are going to end up being really great players, some in Austin and many right here in San Antonio. And Mitch Johnson will be the guy that forges their futures. And I'll do everything I can to help him and help them. But I'll have a new job, and I want to make sure everybody understands what the new job is.
He's pulling off his jacket to reveal a T-shirt.
I'm no longer a coach. I'm El Jefe.
El Jefe written across the front. After that, Mitch Johnson walked up. Greg went to go shake Greg Popovich's hand, who did, and then pulled him in for a hug. Very emotional, yet officially passing the torch.
You know, I don't know who came up with that. Maybe it was Pop, or maybe it was Manu, or Timmy, or maybe all three of them brainstormed and had that happen. But it was genius. And as he walked away, you got a great shot of this on your social media. On the back, it says Senor Popovich.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it was genius, and it was a great way to Pop paying his respects to Mitch Johnson, to the fans, to the people that work within the Spurs organization, all of that, and then to take his jacket off and reveal that was just that was the cherry on top.
The idea when they were walking away in that photo, and you know, a lot of people have taken that and posted it on their own as well, because Manu and Tim is carrying Pop's jacket and cane. Those two stood beside him the entire time he talked. They helped him get up over to the podium. Pop's obviously very frail at this point. We could see that today. You could hear that in his voice. But those two flanking him, legends, Hall of Famers, protecting him, making sure he was okay. We hear Spurs family, Spurs culture. We hear those words a lot. Visually, we saw that today with those two flanking Greg Popovich for, quite frankly, time on the podium that Pop did not have to do today. Pop obviously wanted to do this today, to speak publicly the way he did in passing the torch, giving the keys to the car, if you will, to Mitch Johnson.
I just got a tweet from Mike Finger, and he tweets out, he said he didn't have to show up Monday, fearing he wasn't ready. Some tried to talk him out of it, but understanding the moment, Greg Popovich was determined to live up to it one last time. It's a story on the Express News website and by Mike Finger. Jeff McDonald has a great story out as well about today. So if you get an opportunity, go check those out and read those, because both of those guys are very good writers.
And as Mike Finger just tweeted, I guess, and just having Mike Finger on the Blitz on Friday afternoon, talking about it. I mean, you're right. Pop didn't have to do that today. I was surprised. I think everybody from the media side was surprised to see Greg Popovich. From the player side, clearly they knew, but that was something that Pop wanted to do. Pass the torch. Mitch Johnson does have his blessing. Anybody that questions it, they know that Pop has given the blessing, right? And at the same time, he was so damn sincere. The thank yous is genuine of Pop that you see. You hear all these stories about Pop the person and everybody that's had interactions with him over the last weekend, from other coaches, players, you name it. They don't necessarily talk basketball. They talk about Greg Popovich the person. Most of the time in the media, we don't see that side of it most of the time. Today was one of the rare exceptions that you saw that part of it, and I think making his first public comments appearance since the stroke, I think he wanted to do that, but I think he appreciates the life that he's had and wanted to say those thank yous very publicly, not just a statement that gets released.
Yeah, and he did that today, and I thought it was great. And he thanked everybody. I mean, everybody imaginable, he thanked them. You know, Pop was you get him Pop away from basketball, and he was a very interesting guy, and he wanted to talk about everything but basketball. Of course, everybody knows his love for wine, but it was just, and he'd want to know about you and what you're doing, and you know, your family and your interests, and he, all of that kind of stuff. And to have that opportunity from time to time over 25 years at Kins TV, it was fascinating. And he was a much different guy when you got him off the basketball court than he was on. Because when he was on in the press conferences, I mean, that's his job. He's got to be Coach Pop. Away from it, at a dinner or a function, he could let loose and be somebody, or be the guy that he is, and the guy that you're hearing all the accolades about and all the great stories. And so that a great guy. And I know a lot of people got crossways with him with his political views and all of that. And look, whatever you think about that, you think about that, and that's up to you. But Greg Popovich is going to go down as one of the greatest coaches in NBA history, and he's a good guy, and I wish him all the best. And I hope, and I truly believe, and it was good to hear him say he's getting better every day. But he's still a big part of that Spurs family and that organization moving forward.
And he'll continue to be a big part of that, although Mitch Johnson will be the new head coach. We'll hear from Mitch Johnson coming up. We'll also hear from the great Sean Elliott. Sean will join us at 5:15 here on The Blitz. Hey, we do have some Brahmas tickets to give away. Their game Friday night against the D.C. Defenders in the Alamo Dome. You want a family 4-pack of tickets? Go easy on Edwin. It's color 11. Those tickets are yours. A 4-pack of tickets to see the Brahmas and the Defenders Friday night in the Dome. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. If you're having any issues at your house with your plumbing or your AC, you know there is one company to call, and that is Quartermoon Plumbing, Heating, and AC at 210-651-5899, 651-5899. At Quartermoon, they are experts at worst-case scenarios. Big job, small job, residential or commercial. Their service trucks are fully stocked, and they have all the equipment needed for any job. No commission. Sales reps They'll provide estimates and second opinions, and they have a great experienced staff that has earned an A-plus ranking with the Better Business Bureau. And it's also time to make sure your AC is ready for the hot summer months. You can hit the jackpot with comfort. The Lucky 7's AC tune-up for just $77, a 7-point AC inspection that keeps your system running cool and smooth. And it includes a capacitor check, indoor coil inspection, outdoor coil inspection, filter change, air supply temperature check, clearing of condensate drain line, refrigerant level inspection. You just want to make sure your AC is ready to go. So take advantage of that special. 210-651-5899, 651-5899, or online at quartermoonplumbing.com.
Listen up, San Antonio. At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can get college credit for the stripes you've earned. Turn your military rank into college credit to save time and money on an online degree. Eligible enlisted service members and previously enlisted veterans may receive up to 12 credits for select undergraduate courses based on their rank, and up to 90 credits in total for prior learning, military experience, and training. Classes start soon. Learn more at umgc.edu/SATX.
Being arrested isn't just a setback. It's a nightmare that can destroy your life and reputation. At Barton & Associates, we're here to make sure your one bad night doesn't turn into a lifetime of regret. Contact Barton & Associates today at texasarrest.com. That's texasarrest.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's a good boy? Oh, who's what? Oh,
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Father's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for dads and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Time's running out to find the perfect Mother's Day gift, but it's okay because Macy's is here to help. Shop our annual Mother's Day sale and you'll find gifts that'll make mom say, that's exactly what I wanted. There are diamond necklaces and pendants 30 to 55% off. Handbags from Karl Lagerfeld and Calvin Klein 30% off. And designer fragrance gift sets boxed and ready to give. How easy is that? But don't wait any longer. Mother's Day is Sunday and the sale starts tomorrow at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
An accident can leave you struggling to pay for medical bills. At Thomas J. Henry, we believe you deserve justice no matter your financial situation. That's why you don't pay us unless we win your case. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. San Antonio, Texas.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star on YouTube. Subscribe to the San Antonio Sports Star YouTube channel. He is Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. On Twitter, at Joe Reinagel 210. Tweet at me, at Jason Minix.
Glad you're spending a part of your day with us.
You take one day off and forget how to turn on your microphone.
Well, typically, I don't have to do that.
Your
That's
eighth
why
segment of not
I'm
doing
like,
that.
Usually it's on, so I'm not used to that.
Way to throw Edwin under the bus.
Well, I'm just saying. Typically, it is. Sometimes it's not, but I don't think about that. So I've got to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Milwaukee Brewers fan. What do you expect?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Yeah. What a day. What a day in the history of sports in the great city of San Antonio. Reading Mike Finger's column, and another brilliant piece by Mike Finger, and go read Jeff McDonald's article today, equally brilliant. And I think about what we've talked about on the show today, and certainly you and I have the same pulse as those two when it comes to what we witnessed today.
Yeah.
Because it is truly the end of an era. And as I said earlier in the show, and Finger writes something similar, you said it as well, Mitch Johnson certainly didn't win the popular contest on Friday. We'll give him a chance. But he got the public endorsement today from Greg Popovich, who handed him the keys to the car, who passed the baton, who spoke highly of why Mitch Johnson is the right guy to lead this team, to follow the winningest coach in NBA history.
That makes a hell of a difference. I mean, it really does. When you get an endorsement like that from a legend, it makes all the difference in the world. People have a tendency to trust that, and they will give that person a chance, and that's what happened today. Look, the Spurs saw all of that on Friday, I'm sure. Mitch Johnson probably saw it as well. Pop has been told about it. Not sure if he saw it or not. But and I think that's why it was important to Pop to show up today to give Mitch Johnson his endorsement. And he did that, and he did it beautifully.
You know, one of the things that Mitch Johnson has to be is Mitch Johnson. Pop talked about that today. So did Mitch. Mitch can't come in here and try to be Greg Popovich.
Yeah, I've been doing it, I think, just like every other staff member and employee here for the last 9 years myself. I don't think that standard or that approach changes regardless of title. Obviously, the responsibilities of that title change, but starting to work in this organization can be difficult at times because you want to find your way, but you also want to be told what to do just because they've done so many things right. And a lot of times, sometimes you don't get the direction because you need to just feel it and be in it and learn it. And I think every step of the way in every different title or role that I've experienced, that's been a part of it while also being true to yourself. Because as long as you're true to yourself, even as you have some tough times and mistakes, the genuinity and authenticity comes out, and because you are blessed to be working with so many great people, you kind of find a way to problem solve and figure things out.
Absolutely. And look, I think Mitch Johnson will, at least this time around, he knows he's the guy. He's the head coach. As you go through the offseason, as you go through training camp, and then as you go through the season. I mean, last year the guy was thrown into the fire.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he didn't know. He shows up at the arena and hey, Mitch, you're coaching the team tonight. I mean, and so the whole thing was a whirlwind. Then you have what happened to Wemby. It was just a crazy season for the Spurs. There's no doubt. So Mitch Johnson at least will get that to help him out, to go through everything he's going through, to prepare like he wants to prepare, and hopefully that makes a difference. Because look, I don't think anybody that watched Spurs basketball last year could say, other than Greg Popovich, and with all due respect, he said Mitch was brilliant. I'm not sure brilliant is the right word. He made some mistakes, which is understandable. Now he needs to learn from those mistakes, not make them again, and go back.
You know, as I try to wrap my arms around this is the new head coach, because certainly wouldn't have been my first choice, third, fourth, fifth, with what I know. And hearing Pop say he was brilliant, the guy got dealt a bad hand. You know that, and it continually got worse. The reality is, we watched him coach however many games, and so we see him on display for 2.5 hours or so. They watched him and evaluated Mitch Johnson, practice, film, interactions, all the other stuff, the other hours in the day. And Wemby likes him. You know damn well Wemby was there today. A lot of players were there today. But also, I mean, if Wemby would have said, hell no, I'm sure we would have been hearing from a different coach today if today was going to be the day of the press conference. So I don't have to like it. Will I root for him and I hope that he proves me wrong? Absolutely. But at the same time, he said something today, Mitch Johnson did, that really makes a lot of sense, knowing the Spurs way on the organization moving forward. And certainly there's nothing changing as far as the direction.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of experiences along the way. You know, all the experiences will hopefully be able to be something to have a takeaway from, to grow from, positive or negative. I think being able to be in front of these guys and partner with them and challenge them and lead them is going to be the biggest thing, because I feel like we have a hold on the direction that we're heading into, and we want to build upon something. This is not a restart. This is not a reboot. This is not it's a new chapter because it looks different, but the theme of the book isn't changing.
You know, I find it interesting, too, and I know some people on YouTube have pointed this out today, but the 3 job openings, you had San Antonio, Sacramento, and Denver, have been given to interim guys already within the organization.
Yep.
The Kings go with Christie, and the Spurs now with Mitch Johnson. And we'll wait and see what Denver is going to do. And I would assume that the coach has earned his stripes. You knock off the Clippers, you make a good run, you put that team back together, and you should be okay. But hiring from within instead of going out and hiring a so-called retread. Not that Malone or anybody else is a retread, but certainly. But you see what they're doing, hiring from within the organization, and I think that's a trend, at least this year, and it's interesting to see.
Well, and again, the fact that it's not a reboot. Any other coach that comes in is going to put his stamp on things, and the Spurs have the Spurs way. Now, just about every candidate that we talked about as a potential next head coach, not named Mitch Johnson, had some sort of ties to the organization and understand the Spurs way. With Mike Malone, his personal relationship with Pop kind of figures, especially with Pop staying on, those two could probably work together. One of the gazillion highlight clips that we've all seen over the last couple of days from the different Pop interview clips was Pop interrupting a Mike Malone press conference where he got tossed 63 seconds into the game, and they were joking about it. Those two have a tight relationship.
They do.
But one of the things that I find interesting, and you brought this up earlier, Joe, Mitch Johnson holding guys accountable. Pop had the ability, and granted, times are different now than they were when he started 29 years ago or when Tony Parker was a rookie. The ability to dog cuss you and then at some point put his arm around you and give you the positives. But a lot of times, and you talk to different guys on coaching staffs, you know, head coach dog cusses the assistant coach, makes you feel better, right? The whole good cop, bad cop. Now I'm curious, Mitch, who's probably been in that good cop role, if, you know, Pop's barking at you, Mitch is the one. How does he transition that? Now, granted, he's had a year of interim, but at the same time, how does he balance good cop, bad cop, and who else on his staff? And they have made no announcements about who's going to fill his spot on that staff. But I imagine probably somebody with some veteran experience.
Brett Brown, he's there, and I would assume he would be the first assistant. That would seem to make sense to me. The guy is a hell of a basketball coach in his own right. Look, a couple of things that are positive here, I think. Number one, Mitch Johnson's only 37 years old. He's a hell of a lot closer to those players' ages than Greg Popovich was. And the other thing is his demeanor. He has got the most calm demeanor, at least publicly. I don't know what he's like in a practice session, but because you heard him on the podium after games, whether they won or whether they lost, he was the same guy.
Yeah.
I mean, his demeanor is just it's the same, and it seems very calm, very soothing almost. And so I think that's part of it. But we're a leader or a coach of any kind, and what Greg Popovich was brilliant at was he was able to get on these players, no matter what your status was on the team, because he did it to Tim Duncan and David Robinson. And don't let anybody tell you he didn't, because he did. But those guys knew that he was getting on them to make them better. There are different ways to do it. To get on somebody just to get on somebody is one thing. But when you do it and the player actually knows you're trying to improve his game, then you take it and you learn from it and you do what you're told.
I realized on a basketball court early as a player the power and the value of making someone else better. And when you have that trait amongst a team in any walk of life or line of profession, if people really commit to and hold value to making others better and being the best you can be, I think that's something that's contagious and can lead to a really strong group.
No doubt about it. And that could be the third thing we're looking for. I mean, Mitch Johnson may be the second coming of Greg Popovich in a lot of ways, in the way they coach and their styles, and maybe that's what Pop sees and Brian Wright sees and R.C. Buford see in Mitch Johnson, that, hey, this is a 37-year-old Greg Popovich, and he's going to come in and coach very similarly to the guy that just hung him up.
You know, you think about Mitch Johnson, clearly smart. Was he 37, 38? Whatever. The idea of any coach lasting 29 years, I don't know that anybody thinks that at this point. Like, how long will he be there? How patient will he be? But it does say a lot. One, that Pop wanted to be there and give his endorsement, pass the baton. That's so powerful for Mitch, for Mitch's family. By the way, he's married, has 4 kids. I didn't know that until today. To see the number of current players, the ones that are in town, were there today. They didn't have to be.
Nope.
They did not have to be there today. They wanted it to be there. Seeing the former players there today, again, didn't have to be, but the idea of visually what is Spurs family, that was on full display today. And we often talk about guys winning or losing press conferences. There have been a lot of really, really bad introductory press conferences for a first-time coach. Adam Gase comes to mind with the Jets a couple of years ago. We had one not long ago with A&M's new basketball coach, old Bucky.
The dude in Jacksonville that got hired.
I mean, Mitch Johnson won a press conference today. In the long run, that doesn't mean a damn thing. But if you were, and I am, questioning the hire, you hear him talk today and you understand a little bit more about why they made the decision. Doesn't have to be one that you agree with, but you can understand why the organization went with Mitch Johnson and didn't do a search to see what veteran coaches available who might be better for this job. They know what they have in Mitch Johnson, and they're extremely comfortable with it. Most of us on the outside don't know Mitch Johnson that well. And anytime you're first at something, there's going to be questions because you've never done it before. I know what Steve Kerr can do. I know what Mike Malone can do. You name the list of who you thought would be the next, Becky, whatever. They know Mitch Johnson better.
He's been in the organization 10 years. So, yeah, he's grown up there. And you're right, he is 38 years old. So he's grown up with Greg Popovich. He's worked with Greg Popovich. He knows his style. And, look, I was disappointed, I guess is the right word, on Friday that they weren't going out and trying to get a veteran head coach with a name. And so, that was disappointing. But I'm so happy that I was at this press conference today because you're right. I mean, if you're grading a press conference, Mitch Johnson got an A today.
Yep.
He was solid. He knew what he was talking about. He answered every question, and he got an A. There's no question about that. But again, fair or unfair, Mitch Johnson will be judged on wins and losses when the season begins. That's how he'll be judged, and that's just the way it should be. That's what coaches are. I hope and I believe he'll be in the community the way Pop was. I would imagine he will do the same types of things and keep this Spurs organization in the community. But it's going to be interesting to see. But at the end of the day, it's how many wins do you have?
Yep.
That's it. That's how coaches are judged. It's not about how they coach. It's not about how they run a practice. It's not about any of that. It's about how many wins do you have on the board at the end of the season.
And GM Brian Wright talked about why he is comfortable and confident in Mitch Johnson.
Well, I think you just heard a lot of it. These positions are hard. And, in the seat that I sit in, you want a leader that's authentic and genuine to themselves. You want a teacher that can help bring a group forward, and you want a partner. And we started the exact same summer. So I've seen his growth. He's seen my growth. We've been a part of each other's growth. And it was an easy decision and felt super confident in the human being that he is and his ability to do those three things: lead, teach, and be an amazing partner.
And win. Because ultimately, I mean, let's face it, Pop had a trophy, and there were still fire Pop calls.
Yep.
He was not a popular choice when he fired Bob Hill and took over as head coach. And Ryan Nagel and I were both working San Antonio media when that happened. It was not popular, and I can tell you at the time, to think 30 years from now he's going to go out as the GOAT, no. I'm surprised that dude lasted 5 years, to be honest, or even 3 when he originally took over.
Well, I mean, think about it. After the last championship in 2014, how many times have there been fire Pop comments on this show, on other shows? It happens. We're all fickle. We want it now, and if you don't produce, we want you fired. And that's just the way that it is, and Mitch Johnson is going to learn that. He's going to have his ups. He's going to have his downs. And Pop said it best today. We're going to try to win every game. We're not going to, but we're going to try. And, you just hopefully you win a lot more than you lose. And we're talking about the Spurs in the playoffs.
And I hope that eventually Mitch Johnson is able to come on this show. Yes,
yeah.
I said that.
Yeah, okay.
Told you so.
Sure.
I mean, look, it's one of those things. I know it's a crappy, rainy day outside. Maybe you want to skip firing up the grill, go get some pizza at Mellow Mushroom because it is a Mellow Monday. Mood is kind of that way. You want a $50 gift card to Mellow Mushroom? We've got one. Let's give it away right now. Caller number 12, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Caller 12. You win $50 over to Mellow Mushroom. Sean Elliott will join us here on the Blitz coming up at 5:15.
Yeah, I tell you what, after you have that pizza from Mellow Mushroom, before you go to bed, why don't you take a shower? And you're going to enjoy that shower a lot more if you have a Connecticut quality water softener to soften that water. I do. I love the showers now that I take with my Connecticut quality water softener. I feel cleaner when I get out. My clothes are cleaner and they smell better. And the dishes, when they get out of the dishwasher, are fantastic. It is just a great product. It is absolutely the best in the business. There is no comparison to a Connecticut quality water softener. Look, they've been serving San Antonio for over 50 years. It is the most popular water softener on the market, and there's a good reason why. It just works better. It just does. And I love the fact that it doesn't run on electricity, but it does provide soft water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can count on it. That's for sure. And right now, for a limited time, they will install a reverse osmosis drinking station right there at your kitchen sink, absolutely free. Yeah, bottled water right there at your kitchen sink. They're also going to give you $400 off your old water softener. And how about some free money? 0% interest for 12 months. 0% interest for 12 months. It is a fantastic offer. You don't want to wait. It's not going to last long. Call Connecticut of San Antonio and the Hill Country. The numbers to call, 656-PURE, 656-7873, or you can check them out online at ConnecticutSA.com. And you know the jingle, sing it with me. It's the last water softener you'll ever own. Call 656-PURE, Connecticut.
This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, KTFM Floresville.
10-yard line. Touchdown, Vegas. What a wild finish.
Your home for the NFL.
We finally switched to T-Mobile because with them, we can be connected here and there.
Listos todos. Estas son las mañanas.
Now we just need to harmonize.
Switch today. Get 4 Samsung Galaxy S25 phones with Galaxy AI. Plus, get 4 lines for just $25 per line. Visit a store, T-Mobile.com, or call 1-800-T-Mobile. 1-800-T-Mobile. For well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes and fees and $35 per line connection charge. Minimum 4 lines on plan. Contact us if canceling lines. Plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Missions fans, level up your Tuesdays with AARP $2 Tuesdays at Wolf Stadium. Presented by San Antonio Sports Star. Unlock $2 tickets, beer, hot dogs, and more. Don't miss this high score deal. First pitch is 7:05 p.m. Grab your tickets now at samissions.com.
Mellow Mushroom has the best pizza in San Antonio. Mellow delivers the best pizza experience with their delicious dough, premium ingredients, and unique flavors. Delivering a higher order of pizza is the standard. If Mellow can make a pizza this delicious, imagine what they can do with munchies, greens, calzones, and burgers. Mellow Mushroom has San Antonio's best happy hour with food specials and half-off adult beverages. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Does this sound like your marriage? Wake up and realize that there's a better life waiting. I'm Gary Barton, owner of Barton & Associates, attorneys at law. At Barton & Associates, we specialize in navigating the complexities of divorce law, protecting your best interests, and ensuring you're not left vulnerable. Divorce is tough, but here's the thing. You have a choice. You can either let your spouse dictate the terms, or you can take control of the process and secure your future. If you're serious about protecting yourself and securing your financial future, Barton & Associates is the team you need. Call 210-500-0000. That's 210-5-MILLION. Or visit TexasDivorce.com. If you're tired of this, then start your better life today with Barton & Associates. Visit TexasDivorce.com. That's TexasDivorce.com.
Principal Office, San Antonio.
When I wake up
The best mornings
in the morning light,
start with Wrangler.
I put on my jeans and I feel alright.
Jeans, jackets, and shirts that get your day started. Good mornings make for better days. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Joel, I'm proud to introduce my latest in-summer relaxation relief occasion. I call it the Quarter Moon Grill and Go. It's a stainless steel propane gas grill with this a full-size urinal. If you're gonna grill and you gotta go, it's the Grill and Go.
Folks, at Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC, we fix plumbing and AC issues fast and at a fair price. 210-651-5899.
Grill and
Go away, Nigel. Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC.
License number TACLA 141074E M16004.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See with the full details and disclaimer.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
Well, it was announced today in Washington from the White House that the NFL Draft will be held there in 2027. Officials expect over 1 million people to attend. That's crazy. NBA playoffs tonight. The Knicks take on the Celtics. Game 1 of that best-of-7 series. They tip things off at 6 o'clock. The Nuggets are in OKC to face the Thunder at 8:30. And welcome Mitch Johnson, the new head coach of your San Antonio Spurs.
Sports Center brought to you by Centergenics. Book your appointment at fixmylowteam.com.
Joe Reinagel.
That's the third time in 7 seasons the San Antonio Spurs are the NBA champions.
Jason Minix.
They go back to big day as Super Bowl champions. Dallas 52, Buffalo 17.
It's the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star on YouTube. On the San Antonio Sports Star YouTube channel. If you're there, hit the thumbs up button and make sure you subscribe. He is Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix on what has been an historic day in San Antonio.
Well, I tell you what, it really has been. It's been something else. Greg Popovich, after 29 years, officially passing the torch to one Mitch Johnson today, and giving a great speech in the meantime.
You look at what we saw today, and Joe and I fortunate to be in the room.
Yeah.
A press conference we have not seen in San Antonio, an introductory press conference for a new head coach in 29 years. What we were, I think everybody in the room, at least on the media side of things, was surprised at was an appearance from Greg Popovich. Mike Finger from the Express News writes that some tried to talk Pop out of it, that he maybe wasn't ready. But Pop understood the moment and the blessing, and quite honestly stole the show. He's still very frail. That stroke, left side, did not appear to be overly functional, especially his left arm. He walked. But what we saw today was Tim and Manu guiding him, there to assist him. Spurs legends. It was an incredible sight and moment.
Yeah, and I was, I don't know if surprised is the right word, but when you look at Greg Popovich today as to how you remember him before the stroke, it was quite a difference. Still walking with a very noticeable limp, and use of his left arm didn't appear to be there, because when he took his jacket off, well, it was Timmy taking off the left side of that jacket. So I always we're going to remember Greg Popovich as this tough guy, this brash, head coach that does it his way, and it's difficult to see him in the condition he was in today. But the one thing that was great is his mind is still sharp, because his sense of humor was there, and and you had to know that the moment today, so emotional for him, because after the 29 years of blood, sweat, and tears he's put into this franchise, to have to turn that over to anybody, it had to be difficult.
Well, and again, you on a personal level, it just reminded me of my dad when he started to get sick and before he passed. My dad went from this strong, my dad, to a frail old man.
Uh-huh.
And that's what you saw from Pop today. You mentioned it. The mind there, it's still sharp. and he's still funny. Tim and Manu standing beside him, helping him up and over to the podium, helping him through, assisting Manu with an eagle eye just in case. And Pop even joked, I mean, Tim and Manu have been there for every one of his rehab workouts.
Timmy and Manu, of course, who have been here for all of my workouts here at The Rock, they say it's because they love me and they want to be there in case I fall, they're going to catch me and that sort of thing. I call it payback. As they give the rehab people new ideas of things to do to me. So you're not fooling anybody, especially you, Timmy.
That's funny. And both of those guys chuckled. But the fact that they come in and when he's going through this and doing work like that to make sure that he's okay, tells you everything you need to know about how those two guys feel about Greg Popovich.
Visually, Spurs family. We hear that all the time. Today we saw it. By now you've probably seen videos of it, and if not, you will find those videos of it. It was incredible. And then the moment where he's up there and he's wearing a jacket with the old school Spurs logo on it, and he takes that jacket off to reveal his new title.
But I'll have a new job, and I want to make sure everybody understands what the new job is. I'm no longer a coach. I'm El Jefe.
I'm no longer coach. I'm El Jefe. And with that, Mitch Johnson walked up, started to shake hands. Pop brought him in for a hug, and the endorsements there. I saw Manu quote tweeted the Spurs on that moment with El Jefe and says, "That means I'm now special advisor of El Jefe?" ?
That's funny. And, I'm sure. I'm sure that's the case, right? And it was great seeing those guys. Great seeing David Robinson there. And then the young players. Wemby was there. Stephon Castle was there. Keelishvili was there.
DeJounte Murray was there probably for as much Mitch Johnson as for Greg Popovich. It was incredible. And Pop, full confidence in Mitch Johnson taking over. Let's talk about it coming up with the great Sean Elliott. He will join us next here on the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. You know, injuries do happen, and when they do, you can skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocation, sprains, strains, conveniently located in the Corey area with extended hours Monday through Saturday. They have on-site x-ray casting and bracing. In fact, Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, but best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. So if you're injured, get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic. Learn more online at tsaog.com. That's tsaog.com.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JOEQ. That's JOEQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Hi, I'm Jason Thompson. I'm a personal injury attorney, and since 1994, I've been helping people and their families seriously injured or killed by negligent drivers. My website is alawyer4us.com. I use that phrase because I know that there's no way a regular San Antonian can possibly beat $1 billion insurance company alone. You will need an experienced attorney to stand up for you and get what you and your family deserve. This month, my father will retire after 50 years of practicing law, doing what he taught me to do, help people in need. Stand up for the people that cannot. Use the skills you have to help the people in your community when and where you can. When an insured driver seriously injures someone, $1 billion insurance company uses everything it can to pay as little as possible. Every insurance company you have heard of has a very large staff of attorneys already working against you. If you or a family member has been seriously injured because of a negligent driver, call me, Jason Thompson, as soon as you can after a collision. My number is 210-900-0400. That's 210-900-0400. Or check out my website, alawyer4us.com.
Hey San Antonio, this is Kelly Finglass, Senior Director of the world-famous Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders. Don't miss your chance to see our all-new theater production, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders on Tour. A night of dazzling performances, electrifying dance routines, a Q&A session, and even a live audition. We're coming to you for one night only, May 25th at the Majestic Theater. Tickets are limited, so go to DallasCowboysCheerleaders.com/tour to learn more today.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147, 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147, or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the GPS directions first, before driving to the mall.
Turn right at the light. In 1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not Montreal, the mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No, the mall.
Checking first is smart.
Recalculating.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Transform your water with Connecticut. For a limited time, receive a free reverse osmosis drinking station, $400 off with a trade-in, and 0% interest for 12 months with approved credit. Don't wait. The offer ends soon. Call Connecticut today.
You could think you found your dream home online, but here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
This is Andrew Monaco, and the Aggies play here. 94.1, San Antonio's Sports Star.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1, a San Antonio Sports Star on YouTube. Subscribe to the San Antonio Sports Star YouTube channel. Along with Joe Reinagel, I'm Jason Minix. On an historic day in San Antonio, press conference to introduce a new Spurs head coach. Haven't done one of those in 29 years, although it was Greg Popovich that stole the show. Let's talk about it with the great Sean Elliott, who joins us on the Buyers Barricades guest line. Sean, Joe and I have been trying to spend, 3.5 hours of this show so far trying to put into words of what we witnessed today. How do you put into words with what you witnessed today?
Oh, it was simply unbelievable. I thought it was just an incredibly classy press conference. It was emotional. It was heartfelt. It was just extremely well thought out. It was just what you would expect and even more from the Spurs organization. From the very beginning, with Peter's opening remarks to Pop, to Mitch, with Brian Wright, and I just thought everybody did an unbelievable job talking about Pop and why we went the direction with Mitch, and I just thought that, it was just pure class, to be honest with you, Jason. I was really proud to be part of the organization and to be there. That was, to me, it was just really something. It was an amazing moment, is what I would say.
Sean, it was. And I was so thankful I was there to witness what happened today. It was really a classy moment. Mike Finger writes that people try to talk Pop out of going to this, thinking maybe he wasn't up to it. But I think it was necessary, and I'm curious what you think, because I know when Mitch Johnson was announced as the new head coach, there were some fans that were a little skeptical, and I think Pop's approval, his endorsement, was necessary today, and Pop knew that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people needed to hear from Pop. They needed to see him. They needed to hear from him. And I thought Pop did an amazing job of explaining his situation too. He said, I saw Pop a couple months ago at dinner, and I think he looks so much better than he did 2 months ago. And he said, I'm getting better, but it's not good enough right now. And that was, I think that kind of summed it up. He doesn't have what he thought his players deserved and what the players demanded. And for him to really publicly endorse Mitch like that, I think that's just exactly what Mitch needed. And I think that fans needed to hear that too, because fans are fans most of the time, Joe, and they want to play fantasy sports. And you want to hear about, these other coaches that are out there when Mitch has been a part of the organization for 9 years now, and he knows the system. The players respect the hell out of him. Pop respects the hell out of him. And so it's not like you're going to ask Pop and have RC there and Brian Wright. You're just going to make a decision willy-nilly. And so, for Pop to get up there and say the things that he said were really strong, and I thought, really encouraging and inspiring, and it was nice for the players to hear that. It was just great for the fans to hear that if they were listening, because, Pop is really measured and very thoughtful in his approach, and they wouldn't have gone about this decision lightly. And so I just love that Pop gave a ringing endorsement to Mitch, and he's still going to be around, but it was just, I thought it was a great moment for Pop. I thought he was just unbelievable, and it was really a terrific moment for Mitch Johnson as well.
Sean Elliott joining us here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. First public comments for Greg Popovich since he suffered that stroke. I know you've had a lot of private conversations, and that relationship so deep and strong. What we saw today and what the public saw, the media, and then all the videos that are out there, I think visually was Spurs family. We hear that term a lot. Today we saw it with Tim and Manu helping Pop up and standing beside him while he was delivering his remarks. And while he is frail, he certainly is still quick-witted. The mind is certainly still sharp. When you see that, right, and the other players that were there, from current players like Wemby and Castle to the legends that we've already talked about, is that fair? I mean, is that visually what we saw today, what we hear about when we say the word Spurs family?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't have to see it, Jason. I live it. And so, Pop's the reason that I'm here. He's the reason, I have my job that I have now. He's a big reason why so many of the guys stay. Because we're all connected to him, and he treats us all like family, and that's been, that's been Pop's way, and I've said this, so many times over and over again, and and I'll say this now, it wasn't just Pop and RC, it wasn't just Big Peter, it was the women that stood beside these guys. Not behind them, beside them, that helped establish his culture and made it into what it is today. It was Aaron Popovich, Juliana Holt, Beth Buford. They all stood beside these guys and started this culture of family first. And we talk about it, but I don't think people it doesn't really sink in, because culture is a word that's thrown around, and it was, we talked about it today at the press conference, but it's something that a lot of teams try to capture, but they just don't know how to do it. And it's because our players are treated like family. The employees are treated like family. players come in, their wives, their significant others, their family members are treated with the utmost respect and are brought into it, and they feel like they're a part of the organization. And when you have that kind of mindset, that kind of culture, it's almost unbreakable. It's like a foundation now. It's something that's just solid and it's set. It's pretty much set in stone. I just don't see any that culture breaking anytime soon. And that was just outstanding to see Timmy there and David. Obviously Manu, Fab was there. All the former players that are in town that could be there were here. The players that were in town were here, and that's a testament to Pop, RC, Brian, to Peter John, but it's also a testament to all the years and all the work that went into building that culture.
Hey, Sean, I thought it was great, too. I mean, Mitch Johnson's family was there, right, front row to witness this, which has got to be an unbelievable experience for them to see Mitch getting handed the keys to this car, which is the San Antonio Spurs franchise. So Pop gave him an endorsement, Sean, and I want to ask you, what is it about Mitch Johnson that you've been around him, you know him, and the rest of us just getting to know him now, that makes him the guy for this job, in your mind?
Well, lots of things. I mean, obviously Mitch is a very intelligent and bright person. I mean, he's got a lot of energy. He's been around a lot of great coaches. But what I liked what Mitch said today is that he said, I did it. What Pop helped him do was to do it his way, to be himself. And I don't think a lot of people notice it. When Mitch came in, he made some changes as far as who's going to play and who's not going to play. And that's a hard decision for a head coach to make. And for me, I was really impressed when Mitch came in and made some tough decisions early. He had to make some tough decisions. He had to sit some guys down. He had to figure out who he wanted to play. It took him a little bit to figure out who he wanted to play in some of the rotations. But he had to make some tough decisions. And it would have been easy for a guy to come in as an interim coach and say, well, it's still Pop's in charge, and I still trying to figure things out. Now he grabbed the job by the lapels, and he made some really tough decisions, and really probably set some players back a little bit. But he went right after it, and he was himself, and he did it his way. And I will say that there have been a couple of times where I got a chance to hear him, address the team. And, Mitch has a great poker face. Now he's kind of soft spoken when he's out there, and you see him in the press conference and you see him after. But let me tell you, does he hold his guys accountable? Absolutely. He's the type of energy. He has the type of energy and the fire and the knowledge, and he's going to hold his guys accountable, just like Pop did, 1 through 12. And that's exactly what you want as a head coach.
Sean Elliott here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Taking the interim tag off of Mitch Johnson's title, making him the permanent head coach. And he used the term today, Mitch did, it's not a reboot. It's the same book while it might look different. How does Mitch Johnson make this team his team?
I think he has. You see a lot of the players that were there today. I mean, Victor's there, Steph Castle's there. The guys that are in town, they're here to see him, and they're giving their endorsement, their support to him, and that says a lot. The guys respect him, and you also have to figure that going into this coaching decision, if the players didn't want him there, he probably wouldn't be there. So the players want Mitch Johnson as their coach, and I guarantee, you had the big fella there today, and the big fella, I mean Victor, he wants Mitch Johnson there. That's all.
That's all that matters, right?
That you can possibly, yeah. That's like what was it? What did Mitch say today? Pop starts every toast saying, here's to Tim Duncan. And I've been at those coaches' dinners where the wine's poured and Pop will raise a glass and he says, "Here's to Timmy." And it's like, yeah, Pop's the boss, but the real boss was Timmy Duncan, because Timmy could have called his shots, and we all know who's the real boss out there. but you still gotta coach those guys up, and you gotta hold them accountable. And the big boy's there, and he wants Mitch to be the coach. You better believe that's a ringing endorsement, and Mitch has taken that, and I don't. It's a balance, because you know that the players have a lot of power, but at the same time you have to hold them accountable, and you have to coach them. You have to coach them for so they can get better and they can be great, and you can have a goal that you can reach. And Mitch is not one to back down. I promise you that. He's going to coach these guys, and he's going to stay after them. And I thought he did a great job, like I said already, when he had to make some hard decisions. And when he started doing that, he was already making the team his.
All right, Sean, I got to pick your brain, because you just mentioned it. I mean, Greg Popovich was the first to say, good players make great coaches. I mean, and that's true. Mitch Johnson's got a pretty good foundation there with Castle and Fox and Wemby. Uh-huh. What in your mind, Sean, could this team use to make them better?
I just think time. Time is the biggest thing. You can't age these guys overnight. Victor's still 21. He's 21 years old. Steph Castle's 20 or 21. What I told somebody the other day, I said, Victor still hasn't played in a playoff game yet. Steph Castle hasn't played in a playoff game. A lot of our young guys, Keldon, Devin Vassell, they have not played in a playoff game. So you want to get better, you got to make the playoffs next year, and you got to experience that. I feel like when young teams make the playoffs, it only makes them better going into the following season, because they get a taste of what it's really like. They get a taste of that intense competition, and making real adjustments where you're not playing Indiana one night, the next night you're playing Orlando, and the next night you're playing Phoenix. You're playing the same team 7 times in a row. If it's a competitive series, and you're having to constantly adjust, and you're having to get better on the fly, and we haven't done that yet. And so I wouldn't say that they're like major moves where you have to go out and get some other free agent. We need to get into the playoffs. That's how we're going to take the next step.
It's been 7 years. And I think playoff inexperience, we might have seen that last night in the Game 7 down in Houston. The veteran team knew what they needed to do, and they're moving on. But now you're also going to have a inexperienced head coach. I don't know, do we call him a rookie head coach next year, since he has a year of interim, or however we're going to do it? But there are a lot of people, and I'll raise my hand, Sean, I thought that the organization would go get one of those veteran coaches that are available, or hell, maybe some that wouldn't be available. What coach wouldn't want to coach this team with the foundation is there? Were you at all surprised that they didn't even seemingly look at some of those other guys, that it was Mitch's job all along?
No, I wasn't surprised, because Mitch has been a part of the family for a long time. He's been a part of the organization. He knows the ins and outs. He knows Pop, and he knows the players better than anybody else you could go out there and hire. So if you go out there and you get somebody else, it may or may not work out. The coach has got to learn personalities. He's got to learn how to coach players. You may have a completely new system, and so that takes an adjustment. It usually takes a lot of time to figure that out. And so, no, it didn't surprise me. It didn't surprise me at all. And again, I will say it's not just about going out there and getting some kind of high-profile name. You've got to give some of these younger players a shot. I mean, the younger coaches a shot, instead of recycling guys all the time. And my colleagues and I talk about this. And we talk with assistant coaches in the league. I talk to the other announcers, and as we talk about, some coaches continue to get jobs, and you have guys that are highly competent, qualified assistant coaches that don't get a look because we keep going to the same coaches over and over again, when you have guys that are able to do the job. And so I thought Mitch did an unbelievable job. Matter of fact, he probably won too many games down the stretch, and so yeah, he did.
Yeah.
and so you know, he won some games we probably shouldn't have, and I thought he did just a really good job of holding guys accountable and getting guys to understand what they're supposed to do. And once again, you know, coming down the stretch, we played great basketball without Victor the entire second half of the season, and without De'Aaron Fox the last 18 games. And so we made some great strides. And so let's see what happens when we got all these guys together. You have a whole training camp. These guys Mitch already knows everybody. It's not like you have to start over from square one, learning personalities, schemes, things like that. You know, they all know what he expects, and he knows his players extremely well. So hopefully we just hit the ground running next year.
Well, I tell you what, Sean, for an old guy like me and my entire career just about, I've seen Greg Popovich on the sidelines. Even though we saw Mitch Johnson last year, man, it's still a little strange not seeing Pop coaching this team.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's different. It's, you know, it's the cycle of life. You know, it's a change, and it's always difficult. And I say the same thing. It's a different kind of vibe to get on the plane and not see Pop on the plane all year long, to not see him, or, you know, not have the coaches' dinners and that kind of thing that I was accustomed to.
The good wine.
You know, yeah. You know, seeing them and you know, just being around and seeing them on the sidelines, and yeah, it's different, but it's inevitable, and so we all have to realize that, and hopefully this is something where Mitch is going to get his shot, and he's going to be able to have that chair and be successful for many, many, many years. And we'll have a lot of the young guys, the younger fans, where they grew up, where all they knew was Mitch Johnson.
You know, I haven't seen yet what his new paycheck is going to look like, but hopefully it's still enough to cover all those dinners the way Pop did, right? I know that you're probably thinking the same thing, because you might have to pay for a meal on the road now.
I told Mitch when I saw him in the back, I said, "Hey, I got a question for you. Announcers still get invited to coaches' dinners every once in a while?" And he just started laughing. So, yeah, you know, it's all different, but I think the team, the organization is in great hands, and I'm thrilled for Mitch. I'm happy for him. He's worked his tail off, and he's gotten the opportunity that he's dreamt of, and you know, he's got a young family, a beautiful family, and I'm happy for him. He's done a tremendous job, and this is something that's extremely well deserved and earned.
You know, I'm glad to hear you say that. I imagine everybody listening right now is too, because, you know, one of the, I don't know the guy. I mean, outside of watching him in games last year, where at times I questioned what he was doing and wondering if he was in over his head, I don't know the guy. I learned today that he's married and has four children. You're one of the few that can take us back to the day that Pop fired Bob Hill and made himself head coach. And a lot of people were not happy initially with his decision to do that. And today, you know, he officially walks away as the winningest coach and the GOAT. Is there any similarities that you see from when Pop first started and became head coach to what you know about Mitch Johnson?
I think actually Mitch probably has a lot more experience than Pop had at the time. Pop was, you know, an assistant coach for Larry and Don Nelson for a while. Well, you know, maybe I would say maybe about the same amount of experience. But Mitch has gotten more reps or more opportunities being in that chair, being in that first chair. And that's what a lot of coaches talk about. It's a lot different to be an assistant coach and a head coach. Mitch was, in fact, the head coach for the last 77 or so games this year. And so he's got that kind of experience under his belt, where Pop was coming down from being the general manager and firing the coach and then coming into the seat. And although Pop had coached before, it wasn't like he was in that first chair when he took over the first time. And so I'm sure he had to learn a lot. He had to kind of make those tough decisions that Mitch had to make this year, and you had to make the team your own. But he kind of had to do that on the fly, where Mitch has had more games to do that.
Now, you're still ducking me on the golf course, Sean. I'm just saying.
I shot 74 the other day with a triple bogey, man.
Oh, see that? Well, was that 9 holes or what? What was that?
Wow, with the triple bogey.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it just depends on the day, buddy.
I know, my
I just
friend.
got to stop that little over-the-top thing I got going, and I stop that, I can keep it straight.
I've had that for years, my friend. You're the man, Sean.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Joe.
Appreciate you, Sean. Thanks for jumping on, man. Good stuff.
Yeah, Jason, anytime, man.
Sean Elliott here on the Blitz on the Buyers Barricades guest line, where they provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond, online at buyersbarricades.com.
He's the best. He is absolutely the best. Love that guy.
In perspective,
yeah,
Mitch Johnson, more head coaching experience than Pop when Pop took over.
How about that?
That's kind of wild when you look at it like that.
Well, I'm looking forward to see what Mitch Johnson, the Mitch Johnson era, if you will, is going to look like.
It's going to be interesting. We'll hear more from what we heard today at the press conference from both Greg Popovich and the new head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, Mitch Johnson. That will take some getting used to. In the meantime, tonight we got a couple of game ones in the NBA. Tonight, Knicks Celtics, Denver OKC. You want to make those games more exciting. They score buckets. You could score cash, and you can do that on Underdog, playing the Pick'em game. One of the leading sports apps out there, the best place to go make all your sports picks. All you got to do is go and choose higher or lower on predicted stats to build your Pick'em entry. You can play for as little as $1 and win up to 1,000 times your money. So download the Underdog app. Use my promo code STAR when you sign up to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Again, use promo code STAR when you sign up for Underdog. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
There's a reason Intuitive Services Group handles our janitorial needs here at 94.1. They're local and serious about cleanliness. From nightly cleaning to detailed floor care, they deliver. We trust them, and you can too. Call Mo at 830-470-3007. That's 830-470-3007.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/radio, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your marriage is over. You know it, your friends know it. Take back control now with Barton & Associates, an aggressive, no-nonsense team of attorneys ready to fight for what you deserve. Contact us today at TexasDivorce.com. That's TexasDivorce.com.
You know the Roo Pub is proven to be the best place to watch games with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. All the games, all the fights, and when you show up at the Roo Pub, show up hungry. The food is fantastic. Open daily at 11. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and the best place to watch a game. Just down from the big blind, right next to the Angry Elephant. The Roo Pub, 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Maybe you're watching on YouTube. Appreciate that. Subscribe to the San Antonio Sports Star YouTube channel. He is Joe Reinagel.
I sure am.
I'm Jason Minix. I guess I owe you guys an apology.
You probably do.
I probably do. Sam on our YouTube says, what is Sean doing now? I did not announce him as a Spurs announcer, Spurs legend. Dude's number is retired. Memorial Day Miracle. I figure everybody knows that. That's a shame on me. I shouldn't assume that everybody knows who Sean Elliott is.
Well, and he's a legend.
He's a legend.
He is a legend. Yeah, he's doing the Spurs TV broadcast with
Jacob Toby.
Jacob Toby. I saw the guy today, and I'd never met him. And I called him, hey, Toby. I guess was just not horrible, I guess. It is his last name, but I don't know him well enough to, I call you Minix all the time.
Sure.
And, we've known each other for a long time, but I don't typically go up to somebody I've never met and call them by their last name.
Well, I mean, from the military standpoint, but he was like, it's Jacob.
Yeah. Jacob. Very nice guy, man. It was a pleasure meeting him today.
So, again, shame on me for assuming everybody knows who the great Sean Elliott is.
Apology accepted, Minix. It's just fine.
Yeah.
No problem.
And again, he was on that team when they fired Bob Hill.
Yep.
His perspective is one that I always want to get. I love talking basketball with Sean Elliott. Great stuff. And his perspective on what he saw today. Because Sean is one that is seeing Greg Popovich a lot since the stroke. For the rest of us, today was the first time. I know there are some people that say, hey, we saw Pop here, we saw Pop there, but, we haven't seen a ton of photos of Pop.
No.
We just haven't. Part of that, I think, is respect. If you saw him in a restaurant, you're not whipping out your camera. He looked frail. He sounded frail. But his mind is certainly still very, very sharp. When the press conference started today, we had no idea that Greg Popovich was at the Rocket Lock on Terra. People start walking out. Wemby was one of the first. And then you kind of look and you go, holy crap, there's Pop. Manu and Tim were walking side by side. Then they sat down. Manu and Tim assisted Pop in sitting down. Peter J. Holt spoke. And then Pop, with assistance, got up, went to the podium. Completely did not expect, one, to see Pop, let alone hear from Greg Popovich. No, it's 5:45. If you're just getting off work and driving home, in its entirety, here's Greg Popovich from earlier today.
Thank you, Peter John. I guess you all know why you're here. Well, Mr. Harris never knows what he's doing, so Everybody else knows what they're doing. But Don, he's lost all the time, so he doesn't know what he's doing. Thank you for being here. It's quite a day for many of us, but there's a lot of thank yous after 25 or 30 years. Mitch Johnson, hi. Manu, Timmy. I can never express the gratitude that I have for so many people caring about organization and sending me thoughts, prayers, that sort of thing since I had this stroke. Things are getting better by the day, but it's not good enough for what we plan ahead. And so it's time to make this change. I want to thank all of you in here, former players, coaches, friends, people from the ticket office, or people who put on a show during timeouts. We all have a part in this. It's not just the players and the coaches. Everybody has been dedicated to do their part to make a successful, thriving organization. And that starts at the top with the whole family. And we will continue to do our best to do this with class. That's one of the reasons why Mitch Johnson will be taking over, because we have total faith in him to continue what's been started a long time ago. I want to thank all my rehab people, some of whom are here. Javi, are you here? Where are you at? Oh, Javier, Courtney, Melissa, you're back there. There's also Jessica, Rolando, and Christian, who couldn't be here because they have a real job. And of course, Curtis and Nick, who are also here for my rock workouts. And Timmy and Manu, of course, who have been here for all of my workouts here at the Rock. They say it's because they love me and they want to be there in case I fall, they're going to catch me and that sort of thing. I call it payback. As they give the rehab people new ideas of things to do to me. So you're not fooling anybody, especially you, Timmy. I want to thank the fans for being right next to us with every win and every loss over these many years. We feel a close bond with you, and we know that we have a big responsibility to you here in San Antonio, and we will never forget that. But thank you for the years of your support, and we won't let you down. We won't win every game, but we'll try to, and we'll do it with class, whether it's a win or a loss. One of the reasons that I'm doing this now is that we have to have someone in charge who's fully capable of giving their very best, because that's what this group deserves and demands. And we have that man here in San Antonio. Mitch has been in the G League for a few years, behind the bench a few years, on the bench a few years, and then took over this year and did a fantastic job. With circumstances that were very difficult. And we saw him in action, and he was brilliant. The players respect him. He'll hold them accountable, and I couldn't be more thrilled for him and his family and friends. It's just a tribute to him that all the players who were in town were able to come, and especially a special guest, DeJounte Murray, who Mitch has known since he was 9 years old. Since DeJounte was 9 years old, he came all this way just to be here for this day, and Mitch and I both appreciate it very much. Obviously, people like David are part of the fabric of what's been established here from the moment he decided to stay in San Antonio. And under the leadership of R.C. Buford and a host of assistant GMs and coaches, former players, we've been fortunate enough to keep it going. And that's the goal, to make sure we keep it going. We've got scouts and people in the film room, people who empty baskets, clean windows, and we're grateful to all of them because everybody does a job. We've got some young players who are going to end up being really great players, some in Austin and many right here in San Antonio. And Mitch Johnson will be the guy that forges their futures. And I'll do everything I can to help him and help them. But I'll have a new job, and I want to make sure everybody understands what the new job is.
And he's taking off his jacket to reveal a T-shirt.
I'm no longer a coach. I'm El Jefe.
And the T-shirt says El Jefe.
And on the back, Senor Popovich.
President of Basketball Ops.
That's it. So that was genius. I don't know who came up with that, if that was Pop or if it was a combination of several. I don't know, but that was outstanding.
All of it was today.
Yeah, it really was.
Because I don't know who in the media expected to see Greg Popovich today, let alone hear from him. His first public comments since he suffered that stroke. The importance of seeing him as a talk show host, sure, just as a Spurs fan, seeing him is so meaningful. And then the endorsement of Mitch Johnson, so powerful.
It was fantastic today. I tell you this, you think press conference, it's like ho-hum, the same old stuff. This wasn't. This was anything but that. And so fortunate to be able to be there and see that in person today. Just a moment I don't think I'll ever forget. It was an incredible moment today to be at that press conference.
And some of the powerful images, Tim and Manu assisting and flanking Greg Popovich.
Yeah.
Visually, the definition of Spurs family. It was an incredible day.
Yep.
Rob and AJ get you going tomorrow morning, 6 to 10 on the Morning Huddle. The Blitz, we're back tomorrow at 2. I have no idea what's next because Pledge has the day off. Good night, everybody.
Riding I-10 with the Blitz.